and again, it's a gift and a curse because that mentality has gotten us to where we're at, being relentless, right? And so not settling, never being satisfied. But I think that it's a hard thing sometimes for me to be like, okay, catch your breath. The speaking stuff hasn't yet popped off like I wanted to. And I said, okay, it's a good thing. Nothing in my life has been easy. Nothing has happened overnight. I know what this is like because of all these things that I've gone through. You got to put work in. It takes time.
You are now tuning in to the Relentless Project. Real people, real stories, real life.
Well, welcome back, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Welcome to the Relentless. Welcome to Pittsburgh again, and welcome to the Relentless Project.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'll talk to you any day, dude. Our last conversation was pretty fire, but people didn't get to hear it because it's not out yet. So we're gonna do it my way.
Hopefully they hear it soon. They hear both of them.
Yeah, you'll hear it. Well, you'll be hearing it as you hear this.
Yeah.
But this is the one with Daniel Herrera. Very unique guest, I would say. I've had a few cops on. Oh, there it goes. Everyone's shutting it off. Nah. Very unique because I like to talk to people who are going above and beyond whatever it is they're doing, right? How many cops are there in the U.S.? A lot. How many are approaching the job in a manner that you do?
Hopefully a lot.
Hopefully a lot, but in my experience, very little. And it's sad. And I'm the first to critique the industry because I'm in the industry and we all want it to be better, right? Because that's not something you can just, it's like when you buy something and it's low quality, you can just return it and it's all okay. This isn't something you can afford to be low quality, right? You're dealing with people's lives and livelihoods. So I'm a huge critic in this sense of just trying to better people and better the industry overall. You just went on a little book tour, right? Or I call it a book tour, pod tour.
I've been busy since the summer.
I've been following. How's that been going?
Dude, it's fantastic. It's incredible the amount. I was reluctant to get on the gram and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah,
and I had some people kind of give me some great advice on the fact that it was needed. And Kevin Donaldson, obviously. Shout out to Kevin. And he was the first one that said, look, dude, people can buy into your message, your book, whatever it is that you want to talk about, but they have to buy into you as a person first. And he hit the nail on the head. And so since I started it, nothing but great connections that I've been making. And honestly, dude, I've gotten like 2 negative comments.
And those don't matter.
And they each of them got a God bless you response. And that was it. You know what I mean?
I went to, Seminar Stack had Rob with McDojo Life, and he has a social media class.
Yep.
And I sat in it and I was like, obviously he's successful in what he's doing. Let me hear him out. And he mentioned something, but I forget exactly how he worded it. And this is why I wish I could take a camera with me everywhere, right? I'd be like, oh, this is what he said. But in regards to social media, if you're just posting with no interaction and the first part of social media being social, right? If you're just posting with no interaction, you're just being annoying, right? Like you're just throwing things in people's faces, right? And he said, if you want someone to subscribe to you or to buy your product or your service or whatever you're offering, you want them to get to know you. And when they know you, hopefully they like you.
Right.
And when they like you, they trust you. When they trust you, they're willing to buy into what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you have to be authentic.
Of course.
Right? Because if that all comes out if you're not. But so social media, as much as I hate it, I understand. It's unfortunately a necessary evil if you want to do anything. Meanwhile, because that's the first place people go. Yep. Why am I buying this book? Who's this Daniel Herrera? Let me look him up. Which I Googled you yesterday, and you're on Google, bro.
Yeah, I made it.
Yeah, your book is on there. It's like immediate first search, and I'm like,
awesome.
Okay, that's dope. So he's a police officer, hostage negotiator, author, speaker, but that's all things labels people have given you. When asked, who is Danny? How do you answer that?
Dude, I think I'm just a dude that's trying to be of service to as many people as I can in as many ways as I can. You know, I'm somebody who has overcome a lot, you know, personal traumas and whatnot and hardships. One might say I'm a little relentless. You know what I'm saying?
I would say.
And I came from very humble beginnings, and I'm living out my dreams, man. I mean, I'm truly blessed to do what we do for a living. I'm blessed to be a part of an amazing team of hostage negotiators, which is a huge passion of mine. I'm blessed to have an amazing family, amazing wife, kids, and I just want to pay it forward. You know what I'm saying? So that's me in a nutshell, man.
It's the least we can do.
It's not about me. It's about paying it forward. And as I've gotten older, I realize that more and more. You know, it's not about me being happy or me getting this or getting that. You want to be of service to others. I always say the same thing. I know it sounds corny, but
it's not corny, man. I've been watching these videos lately online. There's this guy, and he just goes around paying people's groceries. Like, and he makes it funny, you know. He tries to like sneaky do it, but he ran into one person, and their story affected him so much that, and he's obviously well off. That's why he's doing stuff like this, and he got her a bunch of money and cars and car and a home because she was homeless. And dude, I felt so great. And I'm like, wow, like how amazing is it that you get to do this for other people? Like you get to help other people. Like that's where especially as I get older, that's where I've been finding more joy, right? When I go do something for myself, I feel guilty. I'm like, oh, I got it. Okay,
Same.
So what? You know, like, okay. But when I'm able to do something for someone else and I see them smile and they're happy and they're appreciative, I'm like, wow, like look at that. Like look at that impact. And then they go out and do, and you know what kills me? When this one guy gave another person $1,000. Dude started crying, right? God, first thing he did is thank Jesus. He goes to get food or buy something, and he's like, hey, I just got blessed. Like, can I bless you? And
that's awesome.
And he paid it forward, right? Like old me, you give me $1,000. I'm like, I got $1,000.
Thank you, brother.
You know what I mean? Thank you, brother.
Out.
Yeah. This guy went ahead and even paid it forward and helped someone else. So that trickling effect, you know, so I don't know how I got onto that, but being a good person, I feel, and doing good things for good people or people with nothing in return or expectations of return, I feel like that's where joy and happiness actually comes from.
It's funny you say that because I've always taught my kids, the people who are kind to you and take care of you with nothing in it for themselves, you got to hold on to those people. Those people are golden, because how many people in life want something out of you? You know what I'm saying? So those people that are kind to you just because they're kind. And I get it. Maybe a lot of people don't have the resources to give somebody $1,000 or buy all their groceries, but what does it cost to put a smile on someone's face? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I often say, like, my kids are like, oh God, dad jokes, you know, whatever. But I'm that dude. I go to a supermarket and like I'll pick the cashier who looks kind of down, you know, or maybe tired, or they're having a bad day. And I'm like, mentally, I'm like, I'm going to make them smile. Watch. You know what I mean? And I may say something corny. It may be a dad joke, but, you know, or I may, you know, if they have an unusual name, I'll be like, oh, let me see if I get this right. You know, and I cross my fingers and I'll be like, I'll say it. And they'll be like, yeah, you got it. And I'll be like, yes. You know what I mean? Little silly things like that.
You give them 5 seconds.
To make them smile, dude. You know, like, and I use the cashier example a lot because cashiers are just like swiping your stuff all day. And like nobody cares how their day's going. They're treated like robots. You know what I'm saying? And so stuff like that, who cares, man? Like it may be corny, but if it brightens your day, the bag boy, you know, I got one in my local supermarket, and I was messing with him. I'm like, Brian, I never could tell if it's the beginning of the shift or end of the shift, bro. How we doing, brother? You know? And he's like, no, I'm hanging in there, Herrera. I'm hanging in there. You know what I mean? But little things like that, where he's like, yo, he knows my name. I call people by their name, you know, or whatever. Yesterday, eating. No, not eating. We were leaving the hotel in Baltimore. Hey, just want to let you know, you guys have been phenomenal. Thank you, brother. And the guy's like, yo, thanks. The guy at the front desk. Who goes to the front desk? You go when you have a problem, right?
Yeah.
When you're going to complain about something.
More towels, please.
Yeah, exactly. So little things like that, to put it's like a personal challenge. I'm going to make this person smile. And that can make someone's day that much better, man. So,
man, it's not just the tattoos and muscles, but we also share that as well.
Yeah.
Because like I'm the type, like cashier is a perfect example. what they do is very like they can fall into a rhythm and just beep, and people when they go to the store, they're not there to hang out, they're not there to socialize, they're there because they need to get the butter or the milk or whatever. I'm still waiting for my dad to return the milk with the milk, but that's fine. But inside joke. You can fall into this routine, right? And I'll do silly. I'm just as corny, dude. I'll just from like 2 aisles down, I'll just go like this, and you'll see the cashier look back, and I'm like, she's like, and then I look down, I look up, and they're like smiling.
Yeah.
Like who waves to people anymore? Who says, "Hey, what's up?" I'll go to the cashier. Hey, how you doing today? Good. You good? Sure. Everything fine? How's work? They're like, wasn't ready for this line of questioning, but you get people to open up, they start smiling. That costs nothing. Costs you 10 seconds.
On the job with the uniform, I'll do that because we have this stigma like, oh, big, bad, mean cop. I did it that day. I'm at a red light and the dude next to me, young guys, like two, three young guys in a like dope, like sport BMW or something. And I put the window down. And I go, my man, I would say let's race and see what's up, but I like my pension too much. You know what I mean? And he starts laughing. And he's like, no, you take me. And I go, I don't know, bro. That looks pretty badass. You know, but he's laughing. A guy that, that probably looked at me like, oh, fuck ass.
Yeah, he's like, you'll pull me over because I'm in a sports car.
If my PD's listening, I did not race. You know what I'm saying? But
disclosure.
Silly stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares, bro? Like, make someone smile or whatever,
Funny story. A group of kids come. I'm at the Sheetz, which is like a gas station here. And a group of kids come up to me and they're like, "Oh, how do you feel about e-bikes?" I'm like, "What do you mean how I feel?" They're like, "Would you arrest me?" I'm like, "Bro, would I arrest you for an e-bike?" I'm like, "Listen to what you're saying." He's like, "No, like if I was doing a wheelie down the street." I'm like, "I'd ask you not to be in the street because then you get hit by a car."
But I'd also be like, "Yo, dope ass wheelie."
Yeah. And I'm like, so we start talking or whatever. We're joking around, and he's like, "You think you can catch me?" I was like, "Dude, I'll smoke you, bro. What do you mean?" He's like, "Let's race." I look at his buddies are like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
To the boy. I'm like, you want to race? I was like, "Let's race." So the kid like takes off his backpack. He's like, "All right." I'm like, "All right, ready, set, go." The kid takes off. And I just stand there. I look at his buddies. Dude, and his buddy's like, "Yo, you fell for that?" Dude starts running. He stops, puts his head down, turns around. He goes, "Yeah, I fell for that."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I fell for that." All the kids are laughing. So he comes up to me, daps me up. This kid's like 10 years old at the Sheetz. But like that little encounter.
He'll remember that. Probably forever.
I hope so. I hope so. But that's the type of stuff I like to do. I don't like to take anything too seriously. At the end of the day, I was that little kid, right? Like I was scared to go to cops though. Because I'm like, I grew up in a different area. But,
oh, yeah. Oh.
I got beat up and deserved it. I will say that. But like the cop who was cool to me, I still talk about it till this day. And I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
The cop was like, "Hey, bro, is this really what you want to be doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, "You're young, man. You got to like the dude who took extra couple minutes to talk to me." I'm like, I still tell the stories today. When I'm talking with other cops, when I'm talking I'm like, "Hey, I get it. I'm not out to jam you up, but you got to understand where we're at right now."
Right.
I like the next guy may not be, give you a break like I did. So you can't bank on that. You got to just, and we have that conversation, but that's because of that, what happened.
And I bet multiple times over, you've paid it forward.
I try. So. I definitely try, especially in that. You, what made you want to be a cop? I know that wasn't,
that was not in the plans.
Yeah,
bro.
that was not
So
in the
you're talking
plans.
about how you grew up. Like I grew up, late 80s, 90s, bro. So it's like NWA, like F the police. Like it was cool not to like the police, right? And never had any major incidents with the cops.
We have to say that.
Yeah.
Same.
My mom may watch this, but no, they know I have at least one of them. But that was silly. But yeah, I grew up not liking the cops. To this day, I'm a huge Tupac fan. I always say I grew up thinking I was a Hispanic Tupac. You know what I'm saying? So it was like F the police and all that stuff. And I was gonna be a baseball player, bro. I was gonna play second base for the Seattle Mariners.
No way. A Cuban playing baseball?
Yeah, right?
Get out
yeah,
of here.
man. So the problem was I wasn't that good. You know what I'm saying? So I made it to you've heard of a cup of coffee in the big leagues, right? Like I had a cup of coffee in a small college you never heard of, right? And that was the extent of that. But honestly, I didn't want to be a teacher either. I was gonna be, I know this is crazy. I was gonna be a firefighter coming out of high school. Okay,
Cut it.
the real heroes. And not mad respect from my brothers and sisters.
Not to interrupt you. I always, every time I see them, I'm like, and there's like people around who we're helping them out. I'm like, finally the real heroes show.
Yeah.
And they every time they show up, I know they look at me like, Ish, you gotta stop. I'm like, no, dude, I couldn't. There was a little tractor on fire.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we couldn't have got this with. I'm holding the extinguisher that I didn't use because it was already gone. I'm like, we couldn't have done this without you. And they're like, just wait till we're done.
Yeah. No, I always start off with, I'm sorry to interrupt your barbecue. Okay. But we needed you. No, so I wanted to be out of high school, I wanted to be a firefighter. 3 days or so, no, about a week or so before EMT school, I lost someone close to me in a car accident. Okay. So literally about a week after, I go to this like initial orientation class for EMT school. And I'll never forget, the instructor says, if you cannot deal with blood and guts and all these things, you know, this ain't for you. Brother, I walked out because it was a week after.
Yeah, too close to, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a very horrific accident, obviously. I mean, it was, you know. And so I'm like, damn, bro, like, what do I do now? Because I was so fixated for the last year and a half or so, finishing high school, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm like, now what? I took my time to, like, grieve and all that. And I didn't go to school for a while. And get little odd jobs here and there. And then I get a job at a clothing company, and I'm like folding clothes. And I'm going somewhere with this story. I had a boss by the name of Ken. And after me working there for a little bit, and on a Friday, Ken takes me to lunch because I was like the best packer in my group. And I was the only one who graduated high school in my group. And Ken was trying to do a real nice thing. Took me out to a nice lunch. But it was almost like a shot. And you know what I mean? Like, it was an impactful moment in the sense that, like, I go home and I'm like, good job, asshole. Like, you're the best packer at Lord Daniel's factory in Hialeah, Florida. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you like, what does this mean to me? Or what does this
What
mean?
am I doing?
Yeah.
I was meant to be the best packer. So, you know, again, I had taken my months to kind of mourn, and that was a big impactful moment. And then I just start community college, not knowing what I wanted to do. And honestly, at that point also, when I started community college, I started working like in an aftercare. And I'm like, oh, I'm having fun with these kids. We're playing sports. You know, I'm like, maybe I could be like a PE coach or something, you know? And so I'm like, whatever. I'll go to school to be a teacher. So I struggled through community college. I couldn't pass remedial math to save my life. And I end up leaving the community college, going to St. Thomas University in Miami, where I ended up graduating from. And I became a teacher. And it was, again, because I'm like, I like hanging out with kids and messing around with kids. And I'm a big kid myself when I want to be. And the schedule's awesome because I always wanted to be a family guy, you know? And I love to do, but early on I decided that I didn't want to be a teacher for 30 years. If I'm going to be in education, okay, what's the highest thing or whatever? I wanted to be a principal. So early on, I'm like, they're giving me responsibilities for leadership. And a lot of things happened at one time, my 5th year, where it was miserable for me. I had I thank her now, but my boss at the time, we had one argument, dude, in 5 years. Hispanic culture, we're big on respect. And I felt she disrespected me. And she, you know, in front of people. And young Danny, you know, there was no crisis negotiator, you know, empathy and calm at that point. So I didn't take kindly to disrespect. We had an argument. And from that moment on, this is my 5th year teaching now, she made that last year a living hell. At the same time, there was a little local bakery, like walking distance from the school, that I would go every morning for my cafecito. Okay,
Yeah, you gotta get the
You know what I'm saying?
cafecito.
And I always say this place was like the closest thing in South Florida to like a Cheers, where like everybody knew each other. Like I got my realtor from there, like, and amongst the people that I got to know in this bakery were the local police officers. And in conjunction with this miserable year that I'm at, I'm having all these cops tell me like, bro, you ever thought about law enforcement? Because like getting to know you a couple years, you know, in the bakery, like we think you'd be really good at this. Oh, stop it, you guys. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But now this 5th year, we're like, I'm miserable already. I'm like, yo, wait a minute, you know? And I remember telling my wife, I'm like, fuck, like I should have been a cop. I should have been a cop. But I'm like 29. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not that old, you know?
Yeah, it's still a chance.
Yeah. And so then that became like, no, I should be a cop. Thinking about it, God bless my wife, because she was very supportive. You know, she didn't marry a cop. She married, you know, a school teacher. And then that became, no, I'm going to be a cop. And I just, again, a way of I always wanted to help people. And it was another way now that I can do that. And I always, I'm appreciative of those officers back in the day that kind of gave me that confidence. And I made the transition, man. The timing was perfect because I started the process, I think it was like January of my last year teaching. So literally like, I got hired June 15th is my anniversary date. Maybe 2 days before that, on that year was the last day of school. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it ended up being perfect. And 15 years later, bro, I couldn't be happier.
Look
But
at
here
you
we are.
now. Look at you now.
I never would have thought I'd be a cop, bro. But
I was the same way. And it's funny because I would always watch like Cops. And I was like, and I do it, no one knew, right? And I'm like, that's actually kind of cool. Like, that's cool. That's kind of cool.
why are you sweating? I was watching Cops.
Yeah. You put your balls on my drum set. But I would always watch Cops, or like, you know, when the cops would come on the block, I would look from a distance and be like that's kind of like an interesting job. Like these men and women, like they don't know us, they don't know anyone, and one phone call and they're here to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it may not be the person I want them to help, but they're helping them regardless. And it was always intriguing, right? I remember I was sitting on the computer and LAPD. How do I become LAPD?
Nice.
And I'm like 18. And I see all these qualifications. I'm like, there's no way I can ever be a cop. There is no way. Background check, lie detector test. No, there's no way. So I always just push it away. And then, you know, I graduated college. I was working construction, had this conversation with this one cop on one of my job sites.
Right.
There was like a lot of things that pushed me to do it, but this conversation really sticks with me. And I remember he's like, why don't you just do it? And it was something like to that nature. I remember thinking to myself, like, why don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Worst case, they say no. Right? So I literally, I applied on my phone during my lunch break. We had like 15-minute lunch break. I applied to the local academy. And it's like, oh, well, orientation is this day. And then I get a phone call. And like, hey, we just saw your application. You're going to need to do fingerprints, this. Like, you have a week. It starts in a week. If you can get all this done in a week, you can be in this next class. I can get it done. I'll get it done. They're like, all right, we'll see you there.
And there you
I
are.
walk to the foreman's office. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be a cop. I don't even know if I'm in yet, bro. So I'm going to be a cop. He looks at me. He's at his desk. He turns around. He's just like, okay, I can see that. I'm like, for real? I'm like that means like,
We're good?
like, you're not firing me? I thought he was going to like get off the side or whatever. Dude, but it was supportive.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything led for me to do this, right? And then just little things happen along the way. I'm in the academy. I'm like, dude, I'm not a cop. All these dudes are cops. Like they want to be, mind you, we're all in the same position coming in here, right? No one's a cop.
Right.
I'm like, these are all like cops. Like
Their dads are cops,
yeah,
their
their dad,
granddads
yeah.
yeah.
I got to keep my head down. Don't say nothing. Like, dude, within a couple weeks, I get approached to like, hey, we want you to be the captain. We like your style. We like the way you motivate people. And I'm like, fuck, I spoke too much.
Nice.
You know, become the class captain.
Dude, I was class president, bro.
Hey,
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean?
I got the president's award,
Nice.
right? And then they interviewed me, right? They're like, and it was because I was a Hispanic from the inner city. They're like, oh, we'd love to interview you. So the local,
Checked a few boxes.
yeah. I'm like, what do you want to? I joined the academy and graduated. So did everyone else.
Yeah.
But I thank you for the interview. Don't pull it. It's probably still up. So they interviewed me, and I'm like, oh man, like maybe this was for me.
Yeah.
And then out of the academy, I get hired immediately. One of the instructors was in a department. He's like, dude, we'd love to have you. He's like, apply. We'd love to have you. So
Did you put yourself to the academy?
yeah. So yeah, I put myself to the academy.
I could never.
Yeah, there's very rare departments here pay you to go to the academy. It's happening now because no one wants to be a comp and they're struggling to find people. But yeah, the majority of people in this area put themselves in the academy.
See, my academy changed recently where you can, it used to be that academy was only the Broward one, only when you were sponsored by an agency. Now you can kind of pay your own way. But I remember making a phone call because, again, I already at this point, I'm married. I have 3 kids, 3 little ones. Like, pay them out, like my place. You know what I mean? Like, I can't go without working, without getting a paycheck. So I remember calling the academy in Miami-Dade because I'm like, bro, like I'm gonna have to keep working, see if there's any night option. And they tell me, yeah, there's academy at night, and it's this time, that time. I'm like, okay, I won't see my family, but I can make that work. And they were like, yeah, it's like $12,000. I'm like, yeah, I'll call you back. I'm like, bro, I had no idea about getting sponsored from. So again, those veteran officers, no, brother, you can apply non-certified, get hired. The agency takes care of everything for you, and they'll pay you while you're in the academy. I'm like, dude, say less. Where do I sign up for this?
So I'm working, getting paid, and going to the academy. Win-win. And some departments do, like some departments are doing that here now. Like you get paid while you're in the academy, they cover the academy, but you have to be there for like X amount of years. You can't leave. So like they're working around getting more people to apply, but it's a tough time to be a cop. No one wants to be a cop.
But here we are, man, and credit to you, and that's why when I'm sure you do the same, when we speak to people about like, dude, that you see they're kind of stuck in a spot and they feel like, I'm just stuck here. This is my job. This is my life. Like, no, dude, you can make a change, but you got to have the guts to make that change. But you can speak on that because you went through it. Same thing with me. Don't tell me it's easy. And I hate the term of like join the force. You just talked about all some of the things that you had to go through in a short amount of time. But what about like the psych, the lie detector, right? Like all these things you had to do, any one of which you could have failed and you're done. So the idea of like joining the force, like we're joining the YMCA, that's not exactly the way it works. You have to pass a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But again, you can speak to that on no, dude, like I could have been stuck doing the construction thing and that would have been my life. And you probably would have made a good life if you wanted to.
A lot of people do make a good life, but I've always like what's like there's something more. And I always I feel like it's a problem I have. It's like there's something more for me. There's something more for me. There's something more for me.
That's a gift and a curse.
It is a gift and a curse.
I deal with that.
You know, and then you get something, right? Like you prepare yourself for an opportunity. You know, this opportunity is presented and you're like, this is it. Right? And you're like, this is what I'm meant to do. But then there's a voice that tells you, this isn't what you're meant to do. And you're like, which one do I listen to? How do I dissect? So it is a gift and a curse, man, because the more you do, the more you wonder if you should be doing it or if you should be doing less or if you should just take it's something I'm currently dealing with.
No, and I heard you in a recent episode talk about, you know, when you put out these videos and you may have an expectation and then, you know, the numbers may not be what you want it to be. And you got to remind yourself, if I impact one, then you mentioned you get like a DM from somebody that it impacted. And that hit home for me because with the book thing, I'll be honest. And I said this when I decided to write the book, that if it helped one kid know what to do in a lockdown or a school emergency and be safe, it was worth it. And I remember talking about it with my wife when I was, I had like the meeting with the publishing company and I hadn't yet 100% committed to going forward. Speaking about it with my wife, and I say that to my wife, and my wife says, "Yeah, cool, but you're not gonna do this for one kid. You're gonna do it for a lot of kids, and I don't want you to feel some kind of way if the book's successful and all that stuff, right?" Every month I get the report of how many books were sold the previous month. Every month I'm disappointed, but I have to remind myself of what you said, the same thing. Then I'll have one review or one person reach out and say, "Hey, I read it to my kid every day. He loves it. And they had a lockdown the day he knew what to do." I got a recent review and I was like, that's worth it. I'm good for the 6 months. I don't care if the book doesn't sell. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, for sure. It's not, you're not doing it for yourself. It's who you're doing it for, right? And you know, you'll probably hear it. You said you're in the middle of William Wise's episode.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been more humbled in my life talking to that guy. And I almost felt bad listening to it back. He's sitting here like, dude, this is the best opportunity I've ever had. And I'm like, oh, dude, no. Like,
He said it again on a post that he made.
Yeah, and I shared, dude. I looked at that.
I saw
I'm
it yesterday.
I'm sitting there like, this is not about me. Why do I care about numbers? Like, this dude is so appreciative to be able to just like share his story, and then just looking at all the comments, everyone, right? Because you heard the conversation. He sat here, no disrespect, William Wise. He sat here and he's like, it's just who cares to listen? Like, kind of like that self-deprecation, which I'm guilty of.
Yeah.
I'm listening to his stuff and I'm like, dude's fire. Like he's got a style, he's got a delivery, he's got the lyrical content. Like he's got it. It's just a matter of being relentless, and it's gonna hit.
But it's almost like he doesn't think he's good.
He doesn't think he's good. And I'm seeing everyone comment like, dude, hottest rapper, hottest. I'm like, this is awesome. Like this is what it's about, right? Like hopefully he's looking at that and going, oh man, okay, I got one more song then, another song. Right? And that's what it's about. So when I'm sitting here like, oh, this didn't do the numbers I want, who gives a damn? It's not about me and my numbers.
Yeah.
It's about, did his message go out, right? 300 people saw it. Put 300 people in this room. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that it's just reframing your mindset and just being appreciative, right? Like, I got to talk to another person. I get to talk to Danny today, which I was very excited about.
Yeah, man.
It's like, dude, like, I want people to know you. Now they're going to, because this is going to go out. But one of the realest dudes, I no offense to the minor few real dudes I have in my life, but bro, you always text. You always check in. You're like, hey, how's your Friday? Happy Friday. Like, dude, I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get that. And I'm guilty. Like, I'll go through life, boom, 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 and then I'll see that text, and I'm like, I need to send my text out to people. Like, you remind me to check in with people.
I appreciate that. And it's funny because sometimes I want, like, I don't want to bother people. And then I'm like, and that sometimes I'll tell people, dude, you don't have to respond. Just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
If that's a bother,
yeah,
that's a good bother.
Yeah.
Because I run through the same thing, man. It's like, I don't want to be an inconvenience to people. That's been a big struggle in my life, not being an inconvenience. So to combat that, I go above and beyond for people, and I usually get the short end of the stick. And I'm sitting there holding my toys by myself like, damn, what did I do? What did I do wrong? But, the closer I get to God, the closer I get to my faith, the more relationships I build, I'm like, it is what it is, right? Like, I can't allow someone's reaction to change my approach.
Yeah.
Right? As long as I have good intention, right? If I'm being an asshole, I would hope someone checks me. But like, if I aim to just make sure you're good and you're okay, and you don't want me to, communicate. I can't get offended. You don't want me to. Fine. I'll respect that.
But you just said it, communicate that.
Yeah, communicate it.
There's a big lack of communication going on around,
Oh, dude,
in today's society. But it's funny you say that, because and I struggle with that as well. My wife will tell you, my biggest problem, I don't know if I'd call it a problem. My wife would. If
La
people,
chancla's gonna come through.
Yeah,
this
I know, but my reflexes are on point, brother. If she'll tell you, if people don't treat me the way that I treat them, it's like F you for life. Like, that's why my circle's so small. We all like-minded people. We're tribal in nature. You know what I'm saying? And it's not about, because the way I see it, to what you just said, I don't have a special bone in my body. What does it take for me on a Friday to be like, yo, Ish, hope you had a great week, brother. Stay safe. You know what I'm saying? It don't cost me nothing. It's just being a good dude. If I don't, but again, I always give this example. If I know, somebody's son is hurt or sick or whatever, and I'm that dude reaching out daily, like, yo, you good? Your boy all right? How's he doing? Blah, blah. Now, 3 months later, one of my kids is sick. You don't ask me how my kids are. I'm like, all right, mental checklist, right? And again, I wish I wasn't so. I'm not resentful. I'm just careful who's in my circle, because I want people who just are kind and treat people, not the people that want stuff out of you.
I always say, believe people when they show you who they are.
Yeah.
Believe it. And I'm guilty of always, and I still say this, I'll never burn a bridge. I just had a conversation with someone, and they're like, just don't burn that bridge, Ish. If you go there and you talk like that, don't burn that bridge. I'm like, if I go in there and I communicate how I'm feeling, and they're offended by that, and I explain to them, I'm not trying to be offensive. There was this thing that happened. I can't even say where. I can tell you after, but people will pick it apart immediately. Like, this is what it was. This was the incident. But Something happened and it was completely miscommunicated. So it fell on my lap as if I blew this up. And I'm like, no, that's not how it happened. So I'm speaking with someone to get advice. And I'm like, I did this. Everything was in place for this to happen. And I was told, all right, I'll take care of it from here. And this person didn't take care of it. So now I look like an asshole.
Right.
After I set everything up for this to happen. So I'm going to go talk to that person and see what happened. I'm not going to go, but I'm going to follow the order. Follow the order. I'm going to go right to the source. Just be careful. Just be careful. Don't burn a bridge. I'm like, how is that burning a bridge? We do not communicate anymore. I'm not going to go in there slamming table. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm being told that I didn't do any of this when I gave you all that. And all you had to do was just run with it. And you didn't. Why? If that's burning a bridge, it's burnt on one side.
Right.
And not on my side. Like, do I look like an asshole? Yes. Do I look like I dropped a ball? Yes. Did I? No. But I take the accountability because it initially was my responsibility. Which is why I'm doing what I got to do and communicating and be like, what happened?
Right.
So that I can explain without throwing you under the bus because I'm upset right now and you look like an asshole to me. And I don't want to go in there with that attitude. So can you change my mind? Let me know what happened so that I don't think that you just tried to like basically blow me up.
Were they open to the discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
because you made the biggest step. You went straight to the source. Because what do people do 99% of the time?
They don't.
I'm upset with Ish. I ain't gonna talk to Ish like a man. No. I'm gonna tell Johnny how I'm upset with Ish, and that's I talk about that all the time.
And then Johnny tells this guy, and then it gets back to this guy, and he's like, "What the fuck? Why didn't he just come to me?" And then that's how we have these issues. But thankfully, went to the source. We spoke. It was actually a big miscommunication, and I'm like, you know what? I can see how that gets lost in the weeds. I can see how we both had the right mindset, and we were waiting for this third party to set the thing in motion. And they never did. I should have checked with you to make sure you reached out. You should have checked with me to make sure that I reached out. But I'll own that because at the end of the day, it's my responsibility.
And hopefully you both learn something.
All clear. Yeah, all clear. No bridges burned. But the whole point is like communication and being well-intentioned, right? Like I will never burn a bridge, but I'm always watching and I'm always listening and learning and watch not only how you treat me, how you treat people, right? Like if me and you, we're chatting it up with Steve, right? And you're being Danny to Steve. And then you come, we're going and you're like, man, fuck that dude. I can't fucking stand that dude.
I'm doing the same thing to you then, right?
I'm going to be like, interesting. I did not get that vibe when you were talking to me. Like it's one thing to be cordial. It's another thing to go above and beyond to, like I would take note of that. And that's not a person I want in my circle because you're probably going to do that to me. Exactly. Now that's different than going like, man, that dude's difficult. Like I've tried again. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. Like having a conversation and stuff like that.
Talking
but like,
straight to Steve.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, Steve, listen, brother, like, mad respect, man. If Ish likes you, bro, you must be a dope dude, bro. And I know that you would, you wouldn't intentionally mean to offend me when you did this. But just so you know, the other day, you said this or that, and it kind of bothered me. And then Steve's probably gonna be like, "Oh, my bad, brother. I didn't think that because me and you don't know each other that well. I don't know your sense of humor, my sense of humor. And it's all love, bro. I'm sorry, man. No, it's all good. And that's it. I go through that all the time. And in my family, with my friends, like I'm known as that guy. You will never hear from anybody but Danny how Danny's feeling.
How many people do you frustrate doing that? Because I'm the same way.
No, they even family members that I may not get along with. But there's a respect there because they know if Danny has a problem with me, I know I'm going to hear it from Danny. I'm not going to hear it from somebody else. At least I respect the fact Danny's going to tell me. And I got buddy the same thing where you may one day upset me or something. But again, my approach would be like, Ish, bro, man, you've been such a great friend, brother. And and that's where it takes age and patience, you know what I'm saying? Not to be like, but hey, the other day you said something in front of my wife. I didn't like it, man. And I know you would never purposely mean to offend me, like I said, but I didn't like that. I didn't think it was cool. It's more like guy, locker room talking in front of my wife. I didn't think it was appropriate, whatever. And you'd probably be like, oh damn, my bad, brother. I didn't think, And I go, no, I know you would on purpose. And you'd be like, yo, I'm sorry, dude. I'm like, no, it's all good, brother. Where we gonna go eat? We're good. That's it. But people don't do that.
It's so
They
hard
make things
to do.
so
Yeah.
much worse because they just talk smack to everybody. And
Well, it's like ego, right? Because like I offended you, right? In this scenario, I offended you, and you approached me about it. I feel dumb. I feel silly, right? Because that wasn't my intention. But what do we do with our ego? Oh, now you offended me.
yeah,
Oh, bro, stop being so sensitive. Stop being.
Yeah.
And then we start the attack instead of just being like, oh, that wasn't my intention, brother. My bad. I didn't realize she was listening, or I didn't realize she was in. We don't want to fall back. We want to go. We want to go forward, especially as men. We want to. Who the fuck you think you are?
yeah.
It's like, bro, you offended me. I'm giving you the benefit of communicating to you directly, respectfully, and this is the sword you want to fall on. Why do we do that?
I'm sure, like me, you see it every day at work, in this office setting, and this, French setting or whatever. And it's like, I see every day. And number one, you could just save a lot of time and energy, because people like harp on things for months, literally, when it could have just been a 5-minute. I always say, there ain't nothing you can't work out in a 5-minute conversation with some coffee or an old fashioned, depending on what you're in the mood for. You know what I mean? Like, but
or
just
both.
talk it out, man. Talk it out. Like I'm big on that. I'm big like, no, we're not gonna go around in circles, bro. Like, what's the deal? Let's talk like gentlemen, and then it's gonna be all love afterwards. But we have to figure this out. Why is it that you think I agree with everything my family does or says? So I'm not gonna agree with everything my friends say or do. But again, we can talk about our differences respectfully. I think you hit the nail on the head again with the ego. It's a big thing in our job. That's a big thing. We're too cool to F up, man. And
Yeah,
it's a mistake.
It is. And I think that is, we see a lot of like those videos online. It's ego driven on both sides. I'm not just going to on both sides, right? You see a cop who has authority, and I say authority because in my mind, you're given an authority, but you haven't earned an authority.
Mm-hmm.
You did the process to get there, but I mean, when you're dealing with someone, right? Like, I didn't earn my authority over you. I was given this authority, and you're expected to listen and obey. But we're not in that culture anymore. We're in the realm of whys. Why are you here? Why are you doing? Why are you talking to him? Why'd you pull me over? God, why don't we answer that? I don't even give you the opportunity to ask. Hey, I'm so and so. This is why I pulled you over. And I always put it in my mind if I'm going to cite or not, unbiasedly, right? Like if the infraction wasn't crazy. I hate running traffic, mind you. But let's say I'm in the my back is cornered.
Hey, Daniel, let's go run radar. I'm like,
Let's
no.
not. How about we lie and say we did?
Literally rather do anything else.
But I'll be like, I'm gonna give this person a break, right? So long as nothing comes up, nothing crazy or anything like that. But if you decide to argue, and it's not an ego thing. If you decide to argue it, and you're this is what I say. Hey, bro, on the side of the road is not the opportunity to argue. It ain't the place to argue. I'll give you an opportunity to argue. Here's your court date.
Yeah.
You want to argue? I'll give you the perfect place to argue. Who's someone who doesn't care about me and doesn't care about you, just cares about the letter of the law. We'll let him decide.
Yep.
I'm not going to sit here and argue with you on the side of the road. I'm not going to disrespect you. Scream, holler all you want. Here you go. So I always put it in my mind. I'm going to give him a break, or that was a little crazy, almost caused a crash. I'm citing. Like that's how I am.
Right.
That way I can approach it unbiasedly and go up there, have a conversation. And I tell them, I'm like, hey, if everything checks out, you'll be good to go with a warning.
I do the same.
Boom. They
you
lower,
approach them as a human being.
yeah, and they lower, like you can tell they lower that wall. And I do like to make some jokes. Hopefully I don't get
I was
trouble
going
for
to tell
that.
you. Go ahead.
I'll come in at the end. I'm like, the Steelers are playing. I'm not a Steeler fan, but they're losing, right? This is an example. I'll come up. I'm like, I have good news and bad news, and they're like, what's the bad news? I'm like, the Steelers are down 14 points. Good news is, it's 8 degrees out and you're good to go. And they're like, oh, thank you so much. And like, dude, I'm just a person who wears a little silly metal badge and have a little silly metal weight on my hip. Like, we're people. They're people. We have families. You have family. We're all just people. We're all trying to figure shit out for the first time, right? Like, this is the first time I've been 7 years on the job or 9 years on the job. This is the first time I've spoken to you and pulled you over. This is the first time we're all doing things for the first time for the most part.
Right.
No one's got it all figured out, although a lot of people pretty much make it appear so.
Yeah. I was going to say my joke, provided it's not like dangerously gonna kill someone speeding, but like a regular speeding, I'll go up and approach and I'll be like, "Where's the party? I want to go," and they'll laugh and I go, "Hey, listen, I got a heavy foot, but you're going a little too fast for me. But check it out. As long as I check you out, everything is good to go. I'm gonna give you a warning. I'm not a big ticket rider. Truth be told, if I had to ride a ticket, we'll be here a long time. And I know you got somewhere to go and I got somewhere to go. So, but it kind of calms them down, And sure enough, everything is good. I'll give them a warning. All right, go about your business. You know what I'm saying?
Well, for sure. You mentioned your book. I want to get to that. What, like you become a cop, right? You're not a teacher. You become a cop. It's probably pretty overwhelming at first, but it's also cool, right? You're in this car. I remember the first time I ran
the Lord's work.
I was every time I leave, I'm like, do good for God and country, and I leave. People are like, what does that mean? I don't know. I heard someone say it once. Just do good for God and country. Treat people well.
Exactly.
And love people. But what stemmed you to write this book, and not even just a book, right? Because you could have written a book about your life. You could have written a book about the perseverance you've gone through. You could have written a book about something you're very passionate about, and that's CNT, negotiations. You could have written a book about anything. You chose to write a book about school safety and tailored towards children, not towards teachers who are in charge of the safety or the administration who's in charge. You tailored it towards children. What was the motivation behind that?
Motivation behind that was being a former educator, being a parent, number one, okay? I got sick and tired of seeing and hearing about lockdown drills because now they're a very normal thing for young people. And I got tired of hearing and seeing them done wrong. And it's no offense to teachers, but teachers now are asked to teach a subject matter that they are not trained properly on.
Or even comfortable in.
Exactly. You have a lot of teachers, 20, 25-year veterans. How different was teaching 20, 25 years ago? Okay? I'm going to age myself, but I was a junior when Columbine happened. And that was like the one. That was it. And it was impactful, but it was just Columbine. I don't remember doing lockdown drills when I went to school or anything like that. And so obviously, being an SRO now, I talk to a lot of teachers, at the location that I'm at. But also, I stay in touch with teachers that I worked with many years ago. And that they are those 20, 25-year veterans. And I was coming off of like a frustrating lockdown at my school. Also coming from that week, I had done a teaching at another school on lockdowns, and seeing the teachers' reaction, it was like, you can't fake it. The response that I got was so positive. Part of me was like, how do they not know this though? Like I'm not giving you the gospel here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the response was so overwhelmingly positive that I left that training on a high, like if I just talked the barricaded subject out safely, okay? And I'm like, how do I got to reach more teachers? Because I can't be physically in a lot of locations, especially being an SRO. It's hard for me to go to other schools during school time because I got to be at my school. My agency does a great job getting me coverage for like CNT training, stuff like that. But ultimately, I got to be there. And I left that training in one school and I reached out to have a group chat with my former colleagues. And many years, it's literally 2 texts a year. It's Happy Mother's Day to all my former colleagues. And it's Happy First Day of School. But on this day, I texted them and I said, hey, ladies, hope all is well. Do you all have something that you use to help you with lockdown drills, like to teach them, And all of them were like, no, you got something? No, we're like, they're clueless. And the fact is, you mentioned earlier, you're like me, I'm the biggest cop critic, bro, because we do the job the right way. We put effort into it. And so I'm saying that because if you have a good school resource officer, lockdown drills are going to be covered properly. But you and I both know a lot of officers that are in schools that sit in their desk all day or they're in their car, Netflix and all that good stuff, and they're not helping teachers out with this. So teachers are left by themselves to teach the subject they don't know anything about. So when my former colleagues were like, no, you got something? I'm like, shoot, I may. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any business sense whatsoever, but I know you have to have a need to fill, right? So I said, okay, maybe I got something. I wrote the first draft pretty quickly. I've always been a decent writer. I used to write music. You know what I'm saying?
Let's not go back in.
No, let's not go back into that. But all kidding aside, I used to write a lot of poetry. And I got no shame, you know what I'm saying? And those dark times, man, a lot of times I could just put it on paper and I would write a lot. So I've always been a decent writer. But I do the first draft and I shared it with maybe 4 or 5 teachers. You don't want too many opinions. I always say it's like tattoos, right? I always say it's like tattoos, right? You don't want 15 opinions on your next tattoo, you know, because then it's just going to be like mine, you know, all over the place. But I shared it with like 4 or 5 people. What do you think, honestly? And people that I know would be honest with me. And little tweaks here and there. Like I had one say, you know, you should make the main character like new to the school. Because aside from like, you know, everything going on that he's gonna learn lockdown drill, like almost added anxiety. I had another one say, hey man, maybe you should highlight a little bit more how Jacob, the main character, how like he really, really gets like nervous about these lockdown drills. She's like, because not even as a teacher, as a parent, my son gets really, really freaked out about this stuff. So maybe like a little bit more emphasis on that. I said, bet, made the changes. And then I had the finished product, man. And every teacher I showed, they were like, you got something here, man. This is awesome. You know, I created an acronym called SAFE, with the idea that if kids can remember SAFE, okay, stay away from doors and windows, assemble in a hidden area, follow teacher's instructions, evacuate when appropriate, they would know what to do. It's like working out, like jujitsu, practice, practice, practice. When you need that arm bar, you ain't thinking about it, you're doing it, right? When you need that rep, you've done it over and over again. When you need to get your gun out of your holster, how many times have you know, dry runs, right?
You approach it as a cop, you know?
And as an educator.
And
as a parent.
And as an educator and as a parent. You brought everything together, your past experiences, to write this book. And that's it. That's interesting because, yeah, safe. You're keeping, you know, you want them to be safe, but it's also an acronym that they can utilize to help them remember the process,
right, for
being safe.
Yeah. And like I said, so, and I think the important part, and I say this a lot, I mentioned Kevin Donaldson about the social media stuff, right? Like a pretty good dude to get advice from on social media. He does very well with it. He's expanding his reach. You have to ask advice of the right people for the right thing. I always make the same joke. Mom, I love you. You've heard this before. I've told you many times for myself. I'm not asking my mom how to get bigger triceps. You know what I mean? Like, it's not her thing. All right. If I want to ask my mom or, you know, advice on how to be the sweetest person in the world, that's my mom for you. You know, my mom sees the good in everybody. But if I want to, you know, how do I get bigger triceps? Well, dad used to bodybuild and whatnot. Like, he's that guy, or like, you know, connections that I've made, like, you know, whatever. But so asking somebody who wasn't in that field would have been a big mistake. But the flip side was that I think that was a very important thing that I did, was asking the right people, getting the right feedback. Because yes, the audience is kids, but it's through teachers, through parents. They're not getting this book by themselves to read themselves. They're getting, you know, it's going to be educators and parents getting it for them. So
that's important, because they're the ones reading it or providing it, and maybe can answer questions based off their prior knowledge. And I don't know if we spoke about this last time, but implementing like some sort of training program so that when this book is being read, you know how every book is like, oh, download the resources here, you know, like being able to offer something more for teachers and educators and even parents to provide their children with this book.
Well, so I did mention it before. I put, and we were already deep in the process. So because I'm very thorough, and again, I know you can relate to this because of what you do here, and you want things done a certain way. I had an amazing team of editors, illustrators, but boy, I was not easy. Like, the illustrations are important for kids, right? So they had to be perfect. So the way it would work is they would send me like a sketch, a black and white, and I'd be like, nope, change this, change that. Then they'd make the changes. Then they'd put it in color, and I'd give final approval. If there was another change that I didn't, like, they would do it. And there were certain illustrations, like the one where Jacob is sharing that he's very nervous about lockdown drills. It's a close-up. I mean, it's like chest up. And he's got a face that's like, that kid's scared as shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was a very big one. There was another one where at the end, the Officer Danny, he may have a beard, look like me a little bit.
Wonder where you pulled that one from.
Yeah, but he's pointing. He's like a positive point, and he's like telling the kids like, you're brave, you're courageous, and if you being brave and courageous is doing what you should do even when you're scared. And that illustration, I told the illustrator, he's in the story, he's looking at the class, talking to them. But in the book, I want him to be looking at the reader. So he's like telling the kids, be confident, be courageous, you got this kind of thing, But the part that was a good resource, that it was almost at the end of the process, where just one day hit me, I'm like, bro, teachers love like stuff like posters and visual aids. Because I remember, it's been 15 years, but I remember I had, like I liked all that stuff too. So it just hit me one day. I'm like, bro, the safe plan is in the middle of the story as the officer is introducing it to the kids in the story. But I thought, man, I should put the safe plan again at the end of the book in a cutout, so that teachers can cut it out perfectly to an 8x10. You can put it in a frame, put it next to the door, something that kids every day, going to recess, going to specials, going to dismissal, day in and day out, as they leave that front door, they're seeing the safe plan. You're not going to tell me they're not going to remember the safe plan, bro. Like it's repetition. And again, going back to my days as a teacher, first week and a half, 2 weeks, I didn't do a lick of math, English, any of that stuff. I'm like, I'll catch up. We have to go over classroom management, repetition, routine. Again, going back to how you do one thing is how you do everything. Jiu-jitsu, lifting, how many bench press sets have you done, right? Or reps have you done? Until it becomes, you don't think about anymore at this point, as jacked as you are.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? You don't think about, is my elbow in the right spot? No, because you've done thousands and thousands of reps. Well, the same thing. Kids are quick learners, but that's how they learn, repetition. So I figured something they could put next to the door, they can see it. So I told my cousin was like my unofficial, agent / artistic expert on this project. And when I told him, he goes, bro, that's genius. You know what I'm saying? And I go, I think it'll be cool. And teachers seem to like that. Again, you can cut out at the end. It's in a perfect size to be framed. You could put it, again, next to the door and repetition. We're just trying to build repetition.
And how long has the book been out?
The book came out at the end of April. So what's that, like 5 months now?
And what have you seen since the book has come out with like maybe the local schools or schools that have elected to purchase this, or parents? Like, what have you seen? Any changes? Have you gotten any direct feedback regarding the book and its implementation?
I've been surprised because so far it more than I expected. It's parents buying this book for their kids and kind of taking on the lead of like, I'm going to teach my kid about lockdown drills. I'm not going to count in the school anymore. And that's been very, rewarding and nice to see. And I knew I was going to have this issue again because of my background in education. I've had teachers reach out to me and tell me, hey, look, I love this. I kind of got to do it on the DL though, because the school board has this thing that they want us to teach. You know what I'm saying? And I like your safe plan, so like I'm gonna do it until I get caught doing it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy because I reached out to school boards, and this is where I get upset and I have to like kind of like control my my attitude, if you will, because my whole way of living, dude, is be proactive, not reactive, in all things. In friendships, in marriage, in being a father, be proactive, not reactive. And I hate, we had one about 2 weeks ago, another school shooting. And we go back to the hashtag this, hashtag that, prayers up, blah, blah. But then how many people ignore me when I reach out to them about this book? Because I always say, like, as many as for every Ish Lopez and Kevin Donaldson and Lee Labrada who like have responded and kind of like, you know, help endorse the book, there's 10, 12, 20 people that leave me on red, brother, and they don't care until something happens, and then it's, you know, oh no, again, prayers for this, prayer for that. But to get a school board involved, there's so many hurdles.
Oh, it's crazy. Like we are trying to take trainings into our local schools to get officers and neighboring officers familiar with the inside of the school, the hallways, the access in and out, you know, hidden exits, hidden, all this stuff. And do you know how hard that they're like? And I sort of get it, right? Because when you put police officers in a school with guns, fake or real, parents
Freak out.
Like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And this is when kids aren't there, right? It's not like we're like, hey, let's do this with a kid. Empty school, no staff. We still get resistance. And it's like, don't you want the officers not just generally prepped, but don't you want them aware of this, like the inside and outs of your school, the classrooms, how the classrooms are labeled, right? Because I've gone to schools and there's the room numbers are on the door, which schools here, I don't know how they are down there, but the doors are usually recessed, right? So you're in a hallway and all you see is hall. And then as you walk, you see a little cutout. Oh, there's the door. That's a classroom.
Yep.
You know, and schools have recently started putting the room numbers huge and in the hallway so you can see as you're walking down the hall. You know, and they label hallways, hallway 1, hallway 2, you know, pod A, whatever, how they're doing it. But like, you're starting to see small changes being implemented. And when you go to a school that doesn't have any of that, and you're like, hey, how about we label every entrance outside, right?
Yep.
So if I'm coming into a school and, you know, I go to dispatch, hey, entering through door 32. People listening are like, oh, door 32, that's the 2 side. We got to enter to the 2 side.
Instead of entering the 7th door to the right.
You know, and it helps with communication, helps with response, but it gets officers familiar with doing this. So God forbid if it ever happens, we've been there. Hey, we've been there. We've run this through. We know that obviously every situation is different, but we know the general plan, and then we have to tailor it from there. Like, we're able to deviate a little bit based on the situation, but we've been there, right? Like, how many times do we say, you know, picture yourself there. If you're doing a speech, picture yourself there. Go through it. Say it out loud.
Yeah.
That way, when you're doing it, you're like, oh, I've been here before. You have a sense of comfort. But we get pushback, and I'm like, why?
From parents, from politicians,
Like this isn't this what you want? Like, school safety? We're trying to do that. Why is it such a big problem? And I don't know that answer. It's never been communicated to me as to why. It's just always pushback. Oh, we want a overview of the training. We give you the overview. Oh, well, we want to change this. We don't want this. It's like, why are you changing our training plan? Like, what training experience do you have to change our approach? Right? And that's one thing to get feedback like, hey, this probably isn't the door. You know, this door doesn't access anything. You want to try and get in through these doors. Okay, we understand that. We don't understand the school like you do. But like, changing our approach. We don't want you parked here. That's where the buses are. I'm sorry. In a situation like that, I don't care about the buses.
Right.
Right now, our priority is stop the killing. Okay? We can move. Once we got all that situation under control, we'll move the cars and we'll get the kids evacuated. But and we have a plan for that. You just got to trust the process. They won't even let us sit down and talk about it. It's like, submit this. No. Submit something else. No. Submit something else. It's like, where's the communication?
I think the big problem is just avoidance. Like, you're kind of just hoping this problem's going to go away on its own and that you're never going to have to deal with it. And I always say it's like the way that my wife and I raised our kids. We didn't raise our kids to hide from the storm. We raised our kids to like, no, that storm's coming. Let me show you how to get through that bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what builds character. That's what builds just mental strength, you know? And I get it, you know, nobody, you think I want to, when my kids are older now, the youngest is 17 now, but you think I wanted to talk about lockdown drills? You know, no more than I want to talk about teen pregnancy or anything, but that's the reality we live in.
That's true.
I got to give it to them straight. And when, you know, I remember one lockdown drill when my son was little, and he's like, "Oh, Papi, they had us under the tables," and I'm like, "Jay, that's a tornado drill,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "I don't know. That's what they." And so that's what would bother me, because I'm like, in my school, because I train, because I'm prepared, because I take pride in what I do, I'm not worried about, God forbid, if anything happens at my school. I'm there, and I know how I'm prepared. But it would really, really freak me out where my kids went to school, because I'm like, I don't know that SRO. Like, I'd see them, I'm like, they don't look 10-8, man. Like, you know what I mean? They look a little sloppy, you know?
They look 10-7.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I get it for parents where, no, we don't want to. I had one of the 2 nasty comments that I got on the gram. Homeschooling is the answer, not to put fear in our kids. All right, dude, God bless you, bro. Go homeschool your kid. What do we want to tell you? Okay? Probably, you know, as close to a sure thing as you, and if you could do it, go for it. But the reality is, I'd rather prepare these kids. Mind you, when I wrote the book, that's where some of the great reviews that I've gotten was, in the manner that I wrote it, it's age appropriate. You know, it's nothing that, like, you almost, not that you forget you're reading a book on a lockdown, but it's relatable. There's language being used that's not going to make kids stressed, full of anxiety. It's a kid's story. There, you know, there's again, about a new kid and how he makes friends and all this as well. But also, yeah, the safe plan's in there, but you have to, you know, kind of have some form of like kid gloves as well. You know what I'm saying? But the answer is not to just, oh, it's about lockdowns. No. Because again, how many kids on the job do you see where you know their parents were the umbrella parents, and then they get exposed to the real world, and it's like they go crazy? Give it to the kids straight, man. And I can speak to that, and maybe my parenting skills or my parenting style ain't for everybody, but two boys and a girl who's now 19, and I've always been honest, brother. Those hard conversations, especially with a girl. I know you have a daughter, right? Man, knock on wood, she's a great young lady. But I remember about 13 years old. Oh. I went into her room, brother, and I said, all right, mom spoke to you, right? Okay, you got mom's version of it. I'm going to give you the dude's version of it now. And I laid it to her straight. Guys will do this, A, B, C, D, to get into your pants. Okay? Guys will lie to you. They'll buy you stuff. They'll this, they'll that. The way you carry yourself. Again, you have an amazing role model, because your mom, and I'm biased, I think your mom is hot as fuck. Okay? But look at the way your mom carries herself. When's the last time you saw your mom with her breast out? Oh, that's right, never, right? Like, when you see your mom just inappropriate? Never. Okay. And I told her this at 13 years old, bro.
And look at the guy she landed.
I said, right? And I said, and I told my daughter, I go, look, from now to the rest of your life, men will look at you 2 ways. The girl I want to mess around with, and the girl I want to marry. Which one do you want to be? You know? And not to go off on, you know, raising girls, but honesty. If I would have not had those hard, honest conversations, she probably would have got suckered by the first guy that said I love you to her. You know what I'm saying? And it would be a train wreck after that. Where now, no, I had to put her up on game of how dudes are, because guess what? I was one. I am one. You know what I'm saying? But the things that I would say at that age and things, you know, and whatnot. So going back to the book, we cannot avoid what it is. Again, you're not going to talk to a 8-year-old like you would to a 17-year-old. I get it. But school lockdowns, unfortunately, they're not going anywhere. Okay? And I don't want to get into politics and gun laws and all this nonsense. Criminals are always in a criminal. Okay? Why not just give them a basic plan to prepare for if it's needed? God forbid something happens, now they have an idea what to do. I'd rather that than there's a lockdown and Johnny freaks out because he has no idea what he's supposed to do. That's the gist of.
I just want to take a second to shout out a few companies who believed in me. These were one of our first official sponsors, so huge shout out. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Carbo Jewelers, established in 1997 on the values of honesty and integrity. Whether you're searching for the perfect piece, need expert repair services, visit Carbo Jewelers in Newark's Ironbound District, where your jewelry is always in safe hands. This episode is also brought to you by Continental Jewelers, proudly serving Hudson County, New Jersey since 1964. Whether you're seeking a timeless piece or need expert repairs, they've got you covered. Visit Continental Jewelers, your trusted source for all things jewelry. You can find them on Instagram at Carbo Jewelers or online at carbojewelers.com. Lastly, big shout out to Carbo Trading. Besides coins, precious metals, and jewelry, if it could be traded and collected, he's probably got it. They can be found on Instagram at carbo.trading. You can find all of our sponsors out online on our sponsor page at therelentlessproject.com. It's a foundation. You're providing a foundation, and it's almost designed to alleviate a lot of the stress and fear, right? Because it's a bright, colorful book. It's aimed towards children of a specific age. Like I've read it. It's designed, But also me reading it, I can be like, oh no, this is applicable. No, this is we call it this, but this is the same exact principle. Like the principles are there, and if you implement it, yeah, it's useful. It's very useful.
Basic human nature. Are you more stressed and filled with more anxiety when you're prepared for something, or when you're not? You spoke about speaking. Okay, I know you're a SWAT guy now, right? Like you guys train. So when you get those call outs, same thing with negotiators. We just had a call out last week. Bro, I was cool as ice because I work on it every day, bro. But if I had not, man, I haven't been putting my work in, bro, I'd be freaking on the phone. And it's crazy because, and I'll share this, I'm getting better, but when I did Kevin's podcast, I was nervous driving over there. Like I was really nervous. And my wife can tell, like my skin color changes and like, you know what I mean? And I had to kind of tell myself, and I don't want this to come out like me sound cocky or whatever, but I'm like, you've spoken to people who got a gun to their pregnant girl, threatening to kill themselves, and you are cool, calm as can be, and you're nervous about talking to Kevin, who's super nice and super cool, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I'm like, idiot, you know what I mean? Like, but because you train for those things, but I hadn't done 100, many podcasts, so it was like new to me. So like to the point, this is my first time doing this, so it's like nervous and anxiety, even though like But on the other thing that I work on every day, come on, bro, bring your worst. Yeah, I'm good.
And it's framing, right? Because like that's how I started. I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to talk to people. I'm not the best speaker. English
I heard that on the other episode. You had an idea of just being your voice or something.
Yeah, like me off the camera. Yeah,
like
I'm not the best speaker. I'm not well versed, right? Like English is my second language, so I stutter a lot. I mess up a lot of words, but it's not authentic. It wouldn't be me, right? So and someone hit me with like, dude, you do this, you're a cop, you deal with people on the worst days, like, and you're scared to talk in front of a camera.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, when you put it that way, it does sound silly.
And I'm sure you forget that the camera's there, like
now,
I have,
because I do it a lot. This is your 105th episode.
Yep.
I've done this for a little bit.
I'm willing to bet you're a little bit better than your 5th episode, right?
Way better.
There you go.
Way better. And way more comfortable,
of
right?
Course.
Way more comfortable. Even just how I speak with people, right? Like when I get nervous, I talk a lot, right? So one of the things I work on is let people talk. You are here to hear their story. Let them talk. Right? Like ADHD kicks in. My next idea comes out and I'm like, oh, this is the next thing I want to do. I don't want to forget it. Yeah. And I throw it in there, right? And it's like, then it changes the whole dynamic of the conversation. It's like, let people talk. Let them share their story. So everything I do, I'm constantly learning and evolving. And like, if you're not growing, you're dying. I'm a huge proponent of that. If you're not growing, you're dying. Right? And I normally say comfort and growth don't live in the same room. Right? If you're comfortable, you are dying slowly. Right? You're getting comfortable with your environment, which means you're not learning, you're not evolving, you're not changing, you're not adapting, you're just there. You have to grow. You have to grow in everything you do, right? Like the guy I was last year, the guy I was 2 years ago, the kid I was, those men are dead. They don't exist anymore because I'm always trying to change and adapt and learn and approach people better and differently. And like, if you're not doing that, how do you expect anything great to happen? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I've never met someone who's very successful who's like, I just got by and here I am. No, it's usually like, I failed at this, man. I approached this the wrong way. I had to do this. I had to change this. You're constantly changing and adapting and growing and learning. So if you find yourself stuck somewhere, put yourself in an uncomfortable position, right? Jiu-jitsu.
I was just going to say.
if I went to jiu-jitsu every day and only did the intro class, because I'm comfortable there, I can beat those people up and they can't put me in hard situations. My jiu-jitsu is going to suck. And full disclosure, it still sucks, but it sucks a lot less than it did before because you put yourself in difficult positions.
You saw who I got to train with in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Bro. And it's funny because, I'm like, oh, I've been training about, 5 years now. And
You got to show the tattoo too, because we're a Henzo family.
Shout out
here.
to Henzo, man. You know what I'm saying? Henzo for Lardell, and that tattoo is just as much about my family at the school than it is about Henzo himself, man. But I'm in a great place with great people. They bust my balls all the time, but that's what you do when you like somebody, right?
Friends do. Yeah.
But again, through the social media, bro, I reach out to freaking John Rallo, bro, and he's like, oh, come in and super accommodating with me with my schedule because he teaches a no-gi class Fridays like 11:30, but my plane landed like at 10:45. I'm like, brother, I ain't gonna make it. So we set up a private, but bringing that up about still sucking, when I say, oh, I train at Henzo in Fort Lauderdale about 5 years now, and he's like, oh, nice, brother, so purple belt? I'm like, nah, man, not yet.
The way my belt's set up.
Yeah, like, not yet, brother. But he's like, no, you'll get there. And I'm not wearing it for the long haul. But all kidding aside, because I was going to mention jiu-jitsu, and the gym, because we're into the same hobbies. We love stuff with no finish line. You ever thought about it that way? There's no finish line. As in shape as you are, if you stopped training tomorrow, give it time, brother, you will look like shit again, right? If you work your way up to, to blue, purple, and all these, in jiu-jitsu, and then you stop, you lose it. If you stopped training SWAT tactics, what you know now, you will eventually forget about it. Things with no finish line. The day you decide you don't want to be Danny Herrera's friend no more and you stop responding to my text, we're not going to be good friends, bro. You know what I'm saying? But you have to work on those things. We've been married 18 years this November, my wife and I. If I'm just like, you know what, I'm good, bro. Like, I've put in my time. Like, I got to figure it out. I don't got to keep working on it. We're not going to last much longer than 18 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so, again, I always say how you do one thing is how you do everything. I love things with no finish line. There's no like, I made it, I'm good, that's it. I went to, over the summer to Lake Tahoe, the Invictus police thing. I took a buddy who's never trained before. And at the end of the week training, I go, yo, my man, who asked the most questions all week? It's all the black belts. And I go, doesn't that tell you something? These are the dudes, instead of like, oh, I got my black belt, like, I'm good, bro. Like, I know all. You know nothing. They were the ones asking the most questions. Constant growth. If you don't grow, you're dying. I couldn't agree with you more on that.
I
one.
never looked at it that way. But yeah, the things I tend to pursue are the things with no finish line. Because
you can steal that from me. Don't worry.
I will. It's noted. It's documented. But
next tattoo.
Yeah. If you're not growing, you're dying. Seek the no finish line. But it's a perfect analogy, metaphor, whatever you want to say, because once you get that thing, right? And this happens with blue belts, especially cops who've gone to adopt a cop and grab their blue belt. Very specific.
Deuces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you get your blue belt and then you're done. Well, that you stop training, that blue belt means nothing because now you're a white belt. And I just experienced that. I went through knee surgery, just tore my hamstring, nice little bruise there.
Oh,
like
softball, I heard.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Running, bro.
Been there, bro.
Running. Like nothing
you
crazy.
Hit that gapper, you're like triple. And then rounding
so
first is like
I get on base, right? Boom. And there's no lead off in softball.
Right.
Dude hits a ball and it's like the outfielder's not catching it. I'm like, I'm gone because I'm making it home. As soon as I start running, dude, I feels like a rubber band pop.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, and I can't put weight on it. Foul ball.
Oh, all that for a foul ball.
For nothing.
Jesus.
For nothing.
I've
all
been
that
there,
for me
bro.
to go, hey, can I get a runner? And they're like,
You weren't even the one that hit the ball.
I know. Dude, you know how embarrassing it is to ask for a runner because you get hurt running a base?
Yeah.
They come out and I'm like limping. They're like, what happened? I'm like, I don't know, dude. My hand, I pulled my hamstring. And for 2 days, there's no bruising or nothing. So I'm like, oh, it's just sore. It's just sore. No, it's probably messed up, but I'm fine. All that to say, I don't even know how I got to that. I'm out of shape. I'm not as in shape as you think.
If your hamstring ain't growing, it's time.
Yeah. All that to say, so it's been hard to get into. Well, as I go back, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm being put in positions that I would have never been put in. And I'm like, how do I get out of this? And and luckily I train with amazing partners, and they're like, hey, bro, like, scoot. Drop your hip. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, duh. Yeah, boom, boom. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, I'm kind of familiar with this. I've been here before. It starts coming back. But then you don't go for another 2 weeks. And then you go once a week. And then you have to keep going, whatever it is. If I go to the gym and I put up 435, my highest ever, not a flex, but it's still on the wall. It's still on the wall. I stopped benching heavy. I can't put up 435 right now. Because I wasn't pushing for that.
Until you get past 40, my guy. All right?
I'm almost there. No. But it's like you have to continuously pursue growth. And that's the whole relentless theme. Not perfection, right? Like you go to the gym 5 days a week. Next week it's 3 days. And it's easy to go, man, I didn't get to go 5 days like this. And then you get put in a rut. And then you don't go the next week. And then check yourself. No. I want to go 5 days. I got to make it a point to go 5 days. And then you go 4. Good.
Yeah.
Or as Jocko says, good.
Yeah.
Like you have to constantly pursue growth, man. And when I have conversations with people and they're like, oh, how do I look like that? And I get into it and they're like, well, how do I look like that? And I only go 2 days a week. And I don't really want to eat this food. I want to stick with this. Or I really love cereal and Oreo cookies. Like I don't want to give that up. Okay, so you don't want to look like me. You don't want to look.
You're already
like
giving yourself all the excuses.
Yeah, it's like, so what do you want something or not? Because my approach to things is like when it's something hard and difficult, I'm like, okay, if I can't make it 5 days a week, how can I get the maximum benefit with the 4 days that I go? Like instead of going to intro, let me go to the advanced class so that I kind of have more reps with higher level belts and I can get more feedback. I start looking for solutions. Yeah. I'm solution oriented, right? If you don't want something, and this is how you gauge if someone really wants something, they start giving you excuses. They're excuses oriented. It's like, oh, well, I didn't get the promotion because they don't like me, or they're out to get me, or they're out to this. It's like, oh, well, you were late 4 days last week. You don't know the policy, so you should probably read the policies. Like you want a promotion, but you don't familiarize yourself with the policies, right? The way you talk to people, you're very condemning and down, and you don't bring the best out of people. You try to tear them down. Like, are you sure you want that promotion? Because if you did, you'd be doing things as if you already had it, right? And my favorite is like, oh, well, I'll start doing that when I get promoted. Can you imagine going to a girl, not giving her anything? No love, no attention, no affection, and going, well, when you marry me, that's when you get that. You're like,
you're hitting on so many points that I want to miss my rebuttals to each of them. But to that point, and you can speak on this again because you're a SWAT guy, and it could be SWAT, it could be negotiator stuff, it could be whatever it is. It could be you want to be a traffic, officer, or whatever. Not you nor me, but whatever. I always tell, because I teach the new hires, and I tell them, and I always ask them, what do you want to do? Like what's your dream position? Okay. Which is a whole other conversation because a lot of guys say, I want to be a detective, I don't want to be SWAT. I say, okay, cool. Do you also want to be a father? Do you want to have 3 wives or you want to have 1? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to make the little league games and do all that stuff? Because you may have to adjust some of these things, right? But also, let's say you want to be, a traffic officer. Are you going to wait till there's an opening to start doing more traffic work? Or are you trying to jump on every traffic call you can, even if it's not your assigned area, and you're trying to help out with that? If you want to be a detective, are you helping out in investigations? Are you putting, I know it's a bad word, dude, on your own time, my God, okay? But are you reaching out to detectives? Hey, is there anything I can do to help? Or if I could shadow you on my own time? When I got into street crimes early on in my career, before being in the schools, And I'll never forget being asked this in the interview. A captain says, this was 2 years in, bro. Like I did the bare minimum on road patrol. And the captain says, you're the least experienced officer here. Why should you get this position? And I said, no doubt, I'm the least experienced officer here. But relative to this position, from the time that I've been here, nobody has done more work for this position than I have. Back then, we used to have to submit portfolios when you put in for like a unit. And in part of the portfolio was like your stats for the last 2 months. So people will kind of like manipulate that because you would get the rumors of like, hey, there's going to be an opening for this. And you're like, oh, crap, I got to get my shit together. And you'd start like pumping up your numbers. So I looked at Captain dead in the eye and I said, don't look at my numbers for the last 2 months. Look at my numbers from day one. You're not going to see this. You're going to see this. Relative to this position, gang field contacts, gang investigations. I got to this day on the back of my car a photo album of all the gangbangers in the area, what gang they're with, you know, their name, date of birth, all their information, all that on my own. And so I said, relative to this position, nobody's worked more for this. And I ended up getting the spot, you know, but it bothers me. And I'm going back to the SWAT thing when I'll see like at the city pumps and I'll see a dude and I'll be like, yo, hermano, what's good, bro? You looking good, bro. You lost some weight. You're getting strong. And they'll be like, yeah, because I'm going to put in for SWAT. And I'm like,
why ain't you been doing that?
Why ain't you been doing that? So what happens now? You're going to make SWAT and get sloppy again? You should have been in shape. We just had a training, our monthly negotiator training today. We have some new members. And we're going over policy about X amount of hours you have to get training a month as a negotiator. If not, you can't be on the phone. And I said, listen, let me go over that really quick. If you are only doing the bare minimum that is required by the state every month, I don't want you on the phone, okay? And you should be ashamed of yourself. These are skills as a hostage negotiator that you can work on every single day. Active listening, okay? Labeling, mirroring, no-oriented questions, things like that. Do not wait until there's a call. I'm not going to want to go because I'm a team leader on the team. I'm not going to want to go to you. I need to see that you're working on this stuff every day. How can I tell? A basic conversation will tell me. Are you using late? Because the joke's always like, negotiations don't work at home with the missus, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, that's BS. It makes me a bet. If you're using it properly and you're working on it, it'll make you a better husband, a better father, a better friend. One of the big ones we use, labeling. Looks like, sounds like, feels like. You're telling me about, you know, whatever it is. And I said, sounds like your childhood was very tough on you. And you're like, yeah. Like, and then you'll expand on that, right? But it's little things. I hate when people say like it's tricks or manipulation. It's little things that just make you feel heard.
What's that? It goes back to that active listening, right? If I ask you a question and you reply, and I ask you another question and you reply, and I ask you another, it turns into an interview.
Right.
You're on a phone interview. Yeah. Right? Like, why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. How many people are in the house? Da, da, da. You should get out. Da, da. Why don't you want to get out? Da, da. You're not forming a connection, right? And what's the ultimate solution? To get this person to come out and everyone's safe.
Yep.
Connect with that person. You don't have to agree with what they did. You don't have to, and that goes with everyday conversations, right? Right now, we're in a time in life where people cannot and will not communicate. You said something I don't like. You offended me. I want you to die. It's like,
yeah.
No, like, well, I'm sorry I offended you. That wasn't my intention. This was my intention. It sounded like I offended you. What I meant was this. Like, get over that initial hurdle. Have a conversation.
And empathy is a big thing for us. And people don't understand, you know, they confuse it with sympathy. And I always explain it like this. For me, the worst thing a man can do is put their hands on a female. Okay? And I've had to be on the phone with people who have put their hands on their female. And instead of you MFer, like, that's the worst thing you could do in my book, you're a piece of crap, I have to try. And it's challenging at times. But I have to try to understand what made you on this day do that.
Doesn't mean I agree with it.
Doesn't mean I agree with it.
But why did you do that?
And connect. And again, just we had a call out last week. And another thing I always say is there's no set rules with this kind of stuff. Okay. It's not like one size all fits all. And some stuff textbook will tell you don't do this and it works. It was a military veteran who was threatening to kill himself. He had a gun. And when I get on scene, they called me out. When I get on scene, I immediately want to know. We had a couple family members and his girlfriend were there. And I said, okay, what am I going to say that's going to make him smile? And I told him, it sound like some silly questions. What am I going to bring up that he's going to like to make him smile? What should I avoid bringing up because it's going to piss him off? Hooks and triggers in my book. And she says, he's an alcoholic, but he doesn't like being called an alcoholic. Do not even bring it. I said, okay, bet. I won't bring that up. What type of father is he? Typically, hooks, or which is the good things, it's related to your kids. Because even no matter what you've done or you want to harm yourself or harm others, genuinely speaking, we all love our kids, right? Maybe not every day, every minute, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so when I make the initial call, which by the way, something that's not textbook at all, we were calling like on a three-way with his adult son. Textbooks are going to tell you don't ever do that. A third party, because he wants to say his goodbyes, you're giving him an opportunity to do so. But in this case, he wasn't answering our call. So it's either talk through the son or not at all. So I get him on the line. Hey, going back to the ego. If I say, I'm hostage negotiator Herrera with the Miramar Police Department, bro, we're like, come on. So I always start with, hey, brother, I'm Danny. What's going on today? Or, hey, my name is Danny. I'm here to make sure you stay safe today, brother. It's funny. I used to make fun of my brother because he would say brother for everything like he's Hulk Hogan. And I do that now all the time.
Oh, dude. When I say it in text, I'm like, that sounds silly.
Yeah.
Let me delete a couple letters.
All the time. But
I say bro.
Yeah. But initially he says, I'm safe. I don't want to talk to y'all. Goodbye. Click. I said, okay. Been here before, done that. Okay. Call back. Going back to the whole training. I'm big on no-oriented questions. My wife in the other room is probably smirking. She loves them. She doesn't at all. But no-oriented questions are because psychologically, people feel powerful saying no. So you turn the no into your favor. If after this, you and I were going to grab a bite, and I want Mexican, and I said, hey, Ish, you down for Mexican? You might be like, nah, brother, I don't want Mexican. I want, Italian or whatever. But if I said, hey, brother, man, what an honor to be here on this show today. I'd fly out to see you anytime. I got to fly out, in a couple hours. But while I was here, man, I wanted to hit up the best Mexican spot in town. Would you be against coming and have Mexican with me? I gave you all those things. And then you'd be like, nah, brother, I'm not against that. Let's do that, right? But you kind of felt some kind of, without even thinking about it, a power in saying no. When people say yes, think of like telemarketers, right? Or salespeople. When you say yes, you're like, crap, what did I say yes to, bro? Like I got tricked into something, right? So I'm big on no-oriented questions. It didn't work on this call out. And I have my coach, my number 2 next to me. She knows how much I love my no-oriented questions. And I said, because I've done it before and it's worked many times before. So I got the guy back on the phone and I said, hey, brother, would it be the worst idea if you gave me 5 minutes to talk to you? And I'm like, I got this. And he goes, yes, it would be. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, well, why is that, brother? And then he got to talk to me, you know what I'm saying? But the no-oriented question didn't work there. Okay, adapt and overcome, And this is another tricky one where, I don't know how we got into this. I'm sorry. I'm super passionate about my pricing negotiation
I'm all
stuff.
about it. Because it leads into communication. Communication.
Oh, yeah. And so the no-oriented thing didn't work. And again, think about personal relationships. You go home, and I'm not to use your example, but just say, dude goes home from work and dude says, man, babe, what a day, bro. I'm exhausted. And woman says, oh, you had a day. I've been with the kids all day, running around doing all this stuff. Guy shuts down and the communication because he's like, damn, bro, like I wanted support there and I didn't get it. And it could be vice versa, right? That's what we see a lot of. As opposed to, in that moment, it's not about you know, it's about the person who kind of like spoke up first, right? Oh, babe, what a day. And if the wife knows what she's doing, she puts away the part that she also had a bad day. Oh, honey, what was it about your day that made it bad for you? Guy wants to share that. You see the difference where like next time guy wants to share, next time guy's checked out. He doesn't want to share no more. Well, that's tricky with negotiations because you don't want to make it about you, but you want to be relatable. So when he tells me, yeah, that'd be a bad idea, I don't want to give you 5 minutes, you know. And I said, wow, brother, I mean, I go, well, listen, you know, I spoke to your son, and can I tell you, I think you're a great dad, man, because he's a great young man, 31-year-old guy. He's a new father. You seem to have done a great job. That's a label. And he says, yeah, well, I tried. And I go, brother, it looks like you succeeded. He's a great dude. I don't want to say the guy's name, but, you know. And he's like, yeah, you know, they didn't let me meet my granddaughter. And that's where we start now, whatever. He goes, and I'm just having a bad day. He kept saying, I'm just having a bad day. And I go, let me try this out. Because again, it can backfire or not, like anything else. And I said, I feel you, brother. I'm having a bad few days myself, man. You know, he could have quickly been like, I don't care about your bad day, asshole. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But he was like, oh, yeah, you too? And I go, yeah, brother, honestly, man, I've been in a funk. I said, you know, I don't know what's going on, but I think there's a reason why we're talking here today, you know? And we just started connecting. And I shit you not, dude, it went from I'm safe, I don't want to talk, click, to 15 years. No, that would be a long negotiation.
Still be there.
15 minutes later, he tells me, you know, you got a really nice voice. I'm glad I got you on the phone. I said, I appreciate that, brother, you know? And we were just vibing, man. And to make a long story short, he agrees to turn himself into me. He was not at home. He was at his friend's house. And he just wanted like the units out of his block, you know, the perimeter and all that stuff, the presence. And I said, okay, I'll work on that, you know? And we agreed at a time. I find out after another jurisdiction, which is where he was at, they had a perimeter points on him. I'm like, bro, they're going to mess this up because they're going to go frigging tactical when they see him, and they're going to whatever. When he leaves the friend's house to come get in his car to come meet me, the other agency takes him into custody. A lot of dudes would be like, okay, problem solved. Where we going to go eat? I tell my captain, hey, I'm going to go see him at the other jurisdiction. I was prepared to fight and argue. If they were going to tell me no, captain goes, that's a great idea. I go, because I want to see him face to face and assure him what I assured him on the phone, that I was here to make sure he was safe and that he was not going to go to jail. It's not a crime to try to harm yourself. So I go, and as soon as I get on scene, bro, one of our canine guys was already out there. And this is where like it's impactful, and I almost got emotional. Thank God I'm able to keep it together on calls, but later on it's like, you know, and I'll get into the adrenaline dump for this one was weird for some reason. It kind of hit me hard. But as soon as I get out of the captain's car, our canine goes, yo, D, he keeps asking for you. And I go, all right, bet. What car is he in? And he showed me what car. And he was in the back seat, obviously. I opened the door, and I crouched down. Bro, and I spoke to him 15 minutes. And I'm not even joking, because my coach earlier was like, hey, all that stuff you were saying, was that real? And I go, oh, I don't lie.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't lie.
You can't.
Because they're gonna read it out,
yeah.
and plus there's no reason to. And I said, so we talked like 15 minutes, and I told him, and I said, brother, I wasn't bullshitting you, bro. I've been having a bad couple of days too, man, and not to get personal, but like I had an argument with my wife the other day, and like we solved it, but it just I hated that like the day seems ruined. You know, we've been married 18 years. We have a really great thing going. We communicate very well. I felt bad for my part of it, you know, and we always keep it respectful, so there's no cursing or anything like that. But it left a bad taste in my mouth, you know. And I said, and honestly, before that, and I go, brother, I don't know how you lean, and I don't want to get into politics, but what's happening in society is really getting to me. And I showed vulnerability. I'm a guy, I'm a police officer. I'm supposed to be tough. I ain't supposed to have feelings. I'm not supposed to be affected by these things. That's bullshit. And I told him, and I said, brother, again, I don't care about politics, bro. What happened to that girl on that train really, really affected me. And then a day or two later, whether you agree or not, he could have been a devil worshiper. I'm a God-fearing Christian. I don't care. The way that this dude was taken out, talking about Charlie, really, really affected me. And I almost started crying in front of this guy. And I got really bothered me, bro. And I said, we happened to agree on certain things, but it could have been someone I couldn't disagree with more. The way he was taken out, it really, really bothered me. And he was like, yeah, that was not cool. You know, that really bothered me too, blah, blah, blah. And we're just two dudes talking. I happen to be one in a uniform. He happens to be one with handcuffs sitting behind a car, you know. And there was not anything fake about it. And at the end of it, I said, brother, I don't do this often. I said, would you be against, no-oriented question. Would you be against me calling you in about a week, see how you're doing? And if we stayed in touch? Brother, I'd love that. You have my number? I go, yeah, I got it.
You got to answer.
Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? But, bro, I go home and again, because you're on SWAT, so I'm sure you have these moments where, like, when you get out of these calls, again, you're like work mode when you're on these calls. When you're doing your SWAT thing, the job got to get done. But when you go home, and I hope that you admit it to yourself, and it's a good thing, I think. But I'll speak for myself. I'm on the way home after every call out, especially the ones where I was lead negotiator, and I'm like, that was some cool shit I just did. Yeah. Like, I feel like a little kid living out a dream. Like, I got to be Bruce Willis in fill in the blank movie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and I love that. I rather have that vulnerable, like, kid-like feeling than just another day in the office. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got it all, I'm all cool, calm, and collect. Nah, bro, like, I feel like cool as shit. But, like, I did a cool thing. But when I get home on this call last week, the adrenaline dump, bro, like, I got down. I told my wife, I go, just give me, just try to understand. Because I felt like almost worse, almost like a little sad. And I think, again, I think it's normal. And I told you the first time we met, I'm an open book. I don't care. Almost more so than if he would have been a complete asshole. But I saw him to be a nice dude who was just having a bad day. And again, I never touched the alcohol problem. Obviously, that's a problem that I hope he gets, that he works on. But I just feel like he did the same, if not more, for me than I did for him that day. Because he let me vent as well. We were just two dudes talking. It wasn't about roles or whatnot. And so, again, I don't know how we got here, but I think the original point was there's no textbook things, but all of these things that I'm passionate about in regards to crisis and hostage negotiations, they have made me a better person. They have made me a better father, a better husband, a better friend. Without that, and that's why, again, I always say, without how you do one thing is how you do everything. What does jiu-jitsu have to do with a children's book? Everything. What does the weight room have to do with crisis negotiations? Everything, because all these have the same mindset. There's no finish line. We're gonna get tattooed together. We're gonna get that.
Yeah, that's gonna be our thing. But
sorry, I went on a tangent, bro. But
no, it's the point was empathy. That was the point, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many people, not in just policing, but in everything, that empathy is lacked, and it's a me versus you conversation. It's not a, hey, this is the problem. How can we together? Because as soon as you start forming that bond and that connection, the conversation tends to go better. It's like, hey, I understand there's a lot of cops out here. It may look a little scary. Like, how can we come to a conclusion so that you're safe, we're safe, and you can see your son again? Like, what can I do so that you're able to do that? Yeah. That's empathy. You could easily be like, dude, come out. If you don't come out, we're sending the team in. Da 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 da. Very, very one thing after the next. Boom, 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 boom. All right, he doesn't want to come in. Throw smoke. Like, because being on the other side, I'm not on the CNT. Being on the other side, I can understand why the guys are itching. They're like, oh, let's throw smoke in there. Let's get them out. And I get a lot of it's well-intentioned, right? We want to end this. We want to make sure everyone's safe. And this is our skill set. Mm-hmm. But this is also a very important skill set, right? Like, if I don't have to do any of this, that is a great day. That is a great day.
Who doesn't have bad days?
Everyone.
Because we have uniforms on, we don't have bad days too. Like, and that's why, like, and my coach was like, was that written? I go, yeah. What is the problem with me admitting that? I've been having a bad couple of days. I've been having a bad week. You know what I mean? Like, we all have them. Who cares? Be empathetic. The threatening part of things, I get it. And because some people may listen like, oh, like, you know, yeah, no. I always say, bro, there's certain things where there's no negotiator Danny anymore, bro. Like, number one, don't get in my bubble. And if you pass the bubble, definitely don't touch me. It's going to be a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may whip my ass, but I'm going to go down trying, you know? And so I don't want people to think like, you know, everything is like, come sit, talk with me. No, there's some things like if you're going to be nasty and there's no getting through to you, because again, none of these things work 100% of the time.
He was showing movement. There was movement in the conversation.
Of course. And you have to read that, because again, if I would have said, I'm having a bad day too, brother, and he goes, I don't give a fuck about you. It's about me. Okay, bro, put that in the back pocket or throw it away for this. It ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So again, there are moments. Hey, look, man, we've tried. Negotiator's been here hours and hours. We're gonna smoke your shit up if you don't just come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that, but think about in any endeavor, anything that you've wanted, whether you're buying a car, you're buying a house, you're looking for, you know, a tech guy to help you with your projects. When is the last time you threatening somebody? Because again, this is where it goes back to relationships, sales. I always give the car, you know, sales thing example. Me going and being like, hey, Ish is a sales guy. And I go, hey, Ish, I want a blacked out, you know, Defender with all the dope ass shit, all the trimmings, but I ain't paying more than X amount of money, bro. And if you can't figure it out for me, I'm gonna go somewhere else. How much do you want to work for me, bro?
My response is going to go somewhere else.
Exactly. Where if I start, and it's crazy because I won't give you the whole long version of the story, but my parents recently took me to help them get a car. And I have this rule. I try not to tell my parents anything negative. You know, they're getting a little older. They're in their late 60s. I don't want to give them any negative news. So like, I've had hospital stints. I've had accidents that they know nothing about. Sorry, Mom.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Calling now.
But I share positive stuff. So a lot of these call outs that I feel real good, and I got, you know, I'll call them, and of course they're going to be super proud or whatever, but they wanted help with buying a car. And I'll just say at the end of it, it worked out very well for them. And it was like, my mom was like, I knew you were a good negotiator because of the stories you've told me from work, but holy crap, like all this stuff works. And I was like, it took the car sales. Like,
yeah.
And I said, none of it was fake though. But from the beginning, I told the sales guy, which was true. I said, hey brother, my boy recommended you. It seems like you have a lot of pride in what you do, man. Like in people, you're the guy to come see. And he's really like, oh, thanks, brother, you know? And then we take the car ride. It was one of those dealerships where like, you know, where the offices and all that stuff, you got to take a little ride to where all the cars are, to where the lots are. And my parents in the back seat, and I'm just chopping it up with the guy. And I'm like, hey, brother, what's your favorite part about working in this job? Like, who asked that of a sales guy? You know what I mean? And he started me connecting with people. And then so I'm like, oh, that's my thing, bro. I love connecting with people and all these things, you know, whatever. And then when they got down to numbers, and I already had known what I was looking for, every time he would come up with a number that wasn't the right one, instead of being, no, absolutely not, bro. You didn't listen to what I told you before? That was not going to work. I would tell him, wow, brother. Like, I know how much you're trying to make this work for me. Like, that car is decked out. I know this is a good deal. But I just can't do it, brother. I just can't. And he's like, okay, let me go work some more. He'd come back again. There was one time where, because I told my parents, don't say nothing. And one of them, my dad's like hitting my leg, and I'm like, stop it, you know? And it was like the third iteration of this. And I do that a couple times. And every time I'm like more like animated. I'm like, wow, bro. Like, oye, tremendo deal, bro. Like, that's a great deal, bro. That car has leather. That car has all that. Like, I know, I do my research. I know this is great. I can't. I can't. I do the numbers for them, the finances for them. They just can't do it. He leaves again. My dad's like, that was a lot less than we agreed in the car, what the goal was. And I go, yeah, but I'm going to get you better. Relax. You know what I'm saying? He's
Trust
like,
the process.
You're going to mess it up. And I'm like, no. You know, and this was the kind of funny thing. When he comes back finally with an incredible offer, I go, wow, brother. I go, you have been so awesome, bro. Like, I really appreciate you working with me. And I'm sorry. I know I'm going to sound like just another customer who wants something for nothing. And he's like, what's going on, brother? And I go, when I did the numbers for my parents, the numbers included the all-weather mats for the car. So would you be against throwing in the all-weather mats? And we got a deal. And he's like, to him, it was like, I gave him the warning of like, I'm going to sound like this guy who wants more. He's like, what the heck is this guy going to come up with now? And then it's like, almost like, all-weather mats, that's what you want? No problem. If I get the all-weather mats, we got a deal. I'm like, got a deal. You know what I'm saying? But the point of it was, at no point, even when his number was so ridiculously not what I had told him, there wasn't an ego and an attitude and like, didn't I tell you this? If you can't do that, I'm going to walk away. And again, it wasn't me being fake, but I made him want to work for me by just showing compassion, empathy. This is a hard gig. If you don't sell the car, you don't get paid. You know, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, and all these things that I built up to that. That's not that damn difficult, but people don't do that. People just, what's the final product? What are you going to get? Oh, no? Okay, I'm out. All right, be out then, bro. Be out.
I have 30,000. What can you do for me?
Exactly. You have to drop the ego. And some of that, and to be clear, a lot of this stuff I've learned from Chris Voss. He's a former FBI negotiator, wrote Never Split the Difference. If you haven't read it, read it. It's awesome and for all things. And he even calls it like, he references 8 Mile in this approach. Because at the end of 8 Mile, what does Eminem do, right? I am a bum. This dude did sleep with my girl. Like, I do live in a trailer park. Like, I am, this, that, whatever. I got a crappy job. Like, go ahead. What else you gonna say? And the guy got nothing. So it's putting it out there. Like, don't pretend like you're not a customer who wants something for nothing. Tell him that. Put it out there. There's a respect there because you're being honest. Bro, I can go all day with this.
No, so what you're telling me is,
I love all this stuff.
What you're telling me is I need to bring you to my next car negotiation.
Let's do it, bro. Let me just tell you this. You ended up going the SWAT route for your reasons, and I'm not blowing smoke, you would make an incredible negotiator. Because I told you, like, for people who don't know, I found you on these podcasts, where you're thinking like, oh, I want, and it's great to have goals. I want X amount of views and I want that. Bro, I saw it and I'm like, yo, that dude's a good host. Something about the way you connect with people, because you said it earlier. You'll see just from podcasts and like certain hosts, like they talk too much or like they make it about themselves. And you are very empathetic. You're an amazing listener. So the day you want to switch over to the negotiator side, we will welcome you with open arms.
He's doing one of his tactics right here. I don't know which one it is, but I know he's doing it. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that, but you ain't going to swoon me. You already did. All right, I'm going to be a negotiator now. But but here's my thing, right? I understand the importance of that, so I go above and beyond to learn that, right? I went to the FBI basic negotiator class, right? Nice. I didn't go to the advanced or anything like that, but it's a good fundamental skill to have, right? Because like, how many times am I going to be communicating with a subject? Probably not many times, but what if there's a chance? I'm at the door, and the dude's on the other side of the door. We didn't know that. Am I going to bust in that door? Probably not. Tactics
even on road patrol. Somebody you come across on road patrol.
Hey, brother, like, I'm out here. Got a couple guys out here. Just don't come out here until we say it's safe. But what's going on? What can I do for you? What can I, like, just forming a quick connection, trying to form some sort of, like, I think it's very important. Communication is something I will always stand on. I just went through sergeant's testing, and what makes a good leader, right? Everyone's like, accountability, leadership. And I said all that, but I was like, to me, the biggest thing is communication, right? Because as a leader, as a sergeant, I'm not going to have all the answers. I'm not going to have the answers they want to hear. I'm going to ask them to do things they may not want to do. But if I can communicate that and articulate that and connect with them, dude, a person who talks to me like in a certain way, I will die for you. Right? Yep. Because it's not about because you're good at your job. It's like, no, you're a good dude. I don't want to run traffic. And like, the sergeants know how I am. So they come up to me and he's like, they make jokes. They're like, oh, you could be the traffic car. And I'm like, or I'm not, or not. But, this one sergeant's very strict on traffic. But I answer calls. I'm always doing, I do our department forums. I do our hiring notices, our flyers. I do a lot of stuff. And he knows this is the stuff I'm very passionate about. And traffic is not. Mm-hmm. you know, but he's like, hey, Ish, our traffic cars are tied up. I know you're in a district. We've been having problems in this area. I'd appreciate it if you can just spend an hour there, you know, just show that we're there. Show
presence.
Yeah. Yeah. It would really mean a lot to me if you could do that for me. I'm going to give you 2 fucking hours. That's what I'm going to do for you.
Exactly.
Like, because you're not forcing it on me and you're approaching me in a way where I'm like, I understand I have a job to do. This is part of my job. I don't like it. But if this is a problem area, this is something that people are having a lot of issues. You know, you mentioned kids and the bus stops, and like, okay, yeah, I'll hang out, no problem.
And in that, he gave you some appreciation.
Yeah,
too. That's what I'm saying. Like when you like emails, for example, like when you're gonna ask something or whatever. Like I always like start with appreciation. I reached out to you on an email, right? And if you go back, I'm pretty sure the first paragraph wasn't about like, you know, what my ask was or how we can connect. It was genuinely showing appreciation for what you're doing.
He says first paragraph because it was a few paragraphs.
Yeah. I'm a writer. Yeah,
no, but I appreciate that because it's like, how many times do we get a DM and it's like, you know, so you want to give your book out, you want to spread your book. If someone just DM'd you, hey, send me a book, you're gonna be like, 1, who are you?
Yeah.
2, why am I just going to send you a book that I spent a lot of time and effort and like, I'm not out for the money, but I also have a family. I have a job that doesn't pay us a lot.
Right.
Like, why am I just going to send you a book? But if someone took the time to go, hey, brother, I work for a small agency. I've been trying to implement the school training in the schools, and they're really struggling. Inner city. I put a lot of my time and effort. Could you send me a book so I can get these teachers and hopefully, you know, get this program implemented and hopefully maybe they order more books for more classrooms? Oh, okay. Like, it's the same ask.
Yeah.
You just took the time to connect, to form some sort of relationship, allow me to garner some sort of empathy, right? And this isn't manipulation. That's the truth. That's now, if you're saying that and it's a lie, that's what's wrong.
Right.
But this person has come out and they, you know, because I get a lot of people who are like, I want to be on the podcast. Okay, cool. What do you want to talk about? I want to talk about my business. I'm not even paying time. Like, this isn't about marketing, right? I want to learn people. I want to, like, what are you doing with your life? And in that, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be marketed.
Right.
You're going to be marketed. But if you're not even spending the time to send me a message, a thoughtful message, why am I going to spend the time to do this? And you could be an awesome person, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? I got a waiting list that's till the end of the year. So it's like, to me, I'm like, why am I going to tell someone, hey, or come in an extra day or something? Like, if you don't even give me couple minutes to formulate an appropriate message, like, hey, brother, listen to your podcast. Or maybe if you don't, hey, I've heard a lot of things, like, because there's a reason they're reaching out, right?
Right.
So they either heard about it or listened to it themselves. Hey, I have a story I'd like to share on here. You know, I sell this product. The reason I sell this is because, let's talk law enforcement. I've seen this hole in law enforcement. I think it's very beneficial. This is, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's set a date. Communication, bro. Communication is everything.
And to your point, again, if they're reaching out to you, they've probably heard it before. They've liked numerous things about it. Why not just mention those things? You know what I'm saying? Like, and show appreciation. And to that sergeant, that hit home for me as well, because one of my best friends, shout out to Mike Yepes, he now is a major with us. He was my sergeant in street crimes. So we didn't start as friends. I worked for him. The friendship developed through many years. He was amazing at that. Where he's great at pointing out the little things that nobody else noticed. Hey, Herrera, bro, like on this case that you had, man, I noticed, like, you know, you had a lack of a lead here, but your determined investigation, bro, like I saw how you then found this and then it connected to that and then you got your guy. That little detail, man, like, great job, brother. That would put me over the moon, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I always say, I don't care how big and strong you are or what job you do or how many tattoos you have. Like, you feel good when someone shows you appreciation. You know what I'm saying? And to the point you made earlier, to this day, again, we happen to become very good friends. One of my best friends, amazing guy. But when I worked for him and now as a friend, I will run through numerous brick walls for that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And communication, because in communication, you have that relationship, you have that trust, you have that connection. Like, and it all stems from communication and how you communicate, right? Because if I admire you, but I don't take the time to communicate that, there could be a disconnect, right? How hard is it to be like, hey, dude, bro, the way you've approached this book, the way you approach your relationships, the way you talk about your wife, like you're a good dude to be around, man. Let's grab a coffee. I'd love to have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Wow. He values things that I value.
And the other side of that as well, not only for like a job well done, going back to what I said about the friends that I have in my circle, and I want similar behavior to what I give as a sergeant. And again, you don't have to, because I went through that, what you're going through now. I went through it. I just decided I didn't have to have the stripes to do the things that I wanted to do. I think we spoke about it last time. And so one of the things for a few years now that I've been doing, and it's not because I'm special, because I needed that many times and I didn't get it. We get, I'm sure in your department you have something similar. We call them MI, like major incident emails, right? So literally after this podcast, I'll put my phone back on and I may have 3 that I missed while we were here. You know, maybe an armed robbery or whatever, like a major incident. The whole department gets emails about them. Anything with a death, a suicide, a baby, anything, right? I will see, because they'll tell you who handled that call. And I will reach out to that person and I'll say, hey, I heard you were on this suicide. Are you okay? And I can't tell you how many times I won't see this person for another month or so, because again, different schedules and whatnot. And when they see me, yo, Herrera, brother, thank you again, bro, for that time that you reached out, bro. Because like, you know, because what, and 99.9% of the time, what's the response?
Good. I'm good.
I'm good, brother. But they'll be like, but thank you though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I'll be like, okay, well, today you're not good, you know, or you want to talk about this? I'm always here, brother. And I mean it. You can't be fake about the whole thing.
It has to be
and I'm
true.
there. And anybody knows me 24/7, bro. If I got you, bro, I got you. And again, it wasn't, you know, me trying to be special. I needed that ish so many times, bro. And in 15-year career, I got that call once, bro. And it sucked because I needed it more, you know, because the horrific things that we see, okay, what you're gonna have no shame. I've gotten calls, and again, where one of the things going back to like the decision to become a cop, that there's been certain moments, some more important than others, that were like, okay, I was meant to do this job. I wasn't sure until this happened, because we all think we know, you know what I'm saying? You could have gone through all that from construction to police work, and then something happens and you're like, F this, bro. I'm going back to construction, bro.
Yeah,
same thing for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's been certain calls that you're like, because of the way that I was able to hone in on what needs to be done now, not everybody can do that. I was meant to do this. But then the job is done, the call's over, and I'll get in my car, I'll bawl like a baby home. And that's happened multiple times. I don't know how I've ever kept it together when I've seen a kid die. But I have. And then I go again. Then I get in the car, clear from the scene, and Danny, the father, the husband, comes out. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little thing that I like to do with people like that. And again, it goes back to like, I know now I'm a team leader on our hostage negotiation team. And little things, like there's no chance in hell one of my colleagues are gonna have like a sick kid and I'm not there reaching out to. Like it would never happen. That's not me being like Superman. It's just be a good dude. So with these sergeants now, like, you know, and again, shout out to all the great ones, man. But when you, it's how you treat people. I won't mention names, and I'm hesitant to kind of share the story because people may figure it out if you know me. Well, whatever. But my wife a few years ago had surgery. Okay, you met her, pretty cool girl. May want to be there for that, right? And I had already like taken the day off. And in the midst of all the craziness that one goes through when they're gonna have surgery, and I'm trying to be there for her, I didn't realize until, you know, when the doctor comes to see her, or they could see us before taking her in, and he mentions how the next day she had to come for like a follow-up. The very next day. And for some reason, I hadn't thought about that. I didn't remember or whatever. And now I'm like, fuck. Like, I missed today. Now I gotta, cause I'm like that. I'm very responsible like that.
You
So
gotta
like
show up,
they
yeah.
hadn't taken her away yet, and I'm like on the phone texting the sergeants like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, bro, but like, this is what happened. I didn't realize this. Like, I need to miss tomorrow too." They hadn't taken her yet, but again, I'm like, I get like anxiety about stuff like this. I hate that word, anxiety.
No,
Overused.
It's true. No, it is overused, but it's a thing, man. Like, and I get it too, bro. Like, if I have to call off for something, I'm guilty. I
Yeah.
feel so it rips me up.
Exactly.
Man.
Exactly.
Like, it's just like if I'm not that I'm special, like you say, but I was like,
But you want to
if
give the
I'm-
most time
yeah.
possible for them to figure out what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So I sent a text to both sergeants because we have the East and West for the schools, and one of the sergeants says, "I don't know if I can get you covered tomorrow. Like, we have a warrant and we got this." And not only was that response not the right one, how you didn't start with, "I hope your wife is okay." I'm like, "Oh, you're dead to me." You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's how extreme I am.
yeah.
He's Cuban. He's Cuban. It's dramatic.
So when he's like, "I don't know about," and I'm like, I tried the nice approach. This is where Negotiator Danny, he left. He's gone. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not coming tomorrow. Figure it out. What do you want me to tell you? You know what I'm saying? And don't mess with my family, bro. You know what I'm saying? But what would it have cost? Like, maybe I could have worked something out. Maybe I couldn't have. But the next time that person asks me for something, how willing am I to go through that brick wall for him?
You're probably gonna hit him with the.
Probably
I don't think
gonna
I can do
push him
that.
into the brick wall.
I don't think I can do that.
You know what I'm saying? Well, if he would have said, you know, "Hey, brother, number one, how's your wife?" Okay, you know, "Oh, she's okay. She's gonna be fine. Okay, good. Hey, listen, we have." It's again going back to like negotiator stuff. You never tell anybody immediately, "That's not gonna happen." Bro, you crazy? No, you're like,
You want the perimeter gone?
get like even things that I know are definite no, brother. I don't know if my command staff's gonna go for this. Give me time. I'm gonna speak to them for you. Okay? But let me try. And if nothing else, you're like, okay, Danny's working for me. If I come back and I'm like, brother, I tried. You know what I'm saying? And I gave a God honest effort, right? So the sergeant would have been like, hey, some challenges there. Let me see what I can. Even if you know, like, hey, I can't figure it out. Like, but don't tell me that initially. I'm in the hospital with my wife. Tell me you're gonna try for me.
Yeah, because
know?
all it takes is you ask someone, they're like, "Well, I was gonna take off, but I don't need to take off. I'll just cover."
Exactly.
You didn't know that, but and you just doing that little effort, it got covered.
Just be a good dude, man.
Be a good
it's
dude.
not that difficult.
That's the premise.
Yeah.
So what do you see the future for you as Danny the officer, Danny the author? Like where do you see yourself going now that new opportunities have opened up and you're passionate about both?
Again, not to keep repeating the same thing. I just want to be of service to as many people as possible. I think that I have had to, again, with you, same thing with the podcast and with what you're doing. I think I've had to catch myself because sometimes, in some ways, it's never enough. I want to do more. I want to reach more. I want to reach more. I want to reach more. I want to help more. I want to help more. And I got to catch myself. Like the other day, I was like, why are you feeling disappointed? If you would have said at the end of April when the book came out, that now at the end of September, you would have done 7 podcasts already, you'd be like, heck yeah. Because I was hoping for 1 this year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So why are you like, but that's, and again, it's a gift and a curse because that mentality has gotten us to a rat and being relentless, right? And so not settling, never being satisfied. But I think that it's a hard thing sometimes for me to be like, okay, catch your breath. You know, look, you know, I've had, I'm teaching at another school in October. That's not where I'm located at, but they asked me to teach the active shooter. The speaking stuff hasn't yet popped off like I wanted to. And I said, okay, it's a good thing. Nothing in my life has been easy. Nothing has happened overnight. I know what this is like because of all these things that I've gone through. You got to put work in. It takes time. You know what I'm saying? So what I wanted to lead to is just helping as many people as I can. I always say it, we spoke about it before, the whole idea of retiring one day, sitting on the beach with a margarita. Sorry if you're doing that. God bless you. Hope you enjoy it. That ain't me. I want to be of service to people as long as I'm on this earth. And so I see myself when I retire, doing speaking engagements, teaching more because I have more flexibility to do so. That's all I want. I just want to reach as many people as I can. I don't have any, thank God Almighty, I don't need a dollar from any of this stuff. I'm good. I just want to pay it forward. I always say all the great things in my life I have gotten through the grace of God and the help of others. And all the bad things that I've gotten in my life have been 100% my fault. You know what I'm saying? And I try to remember that mentality. I think it's a good way to live because it shows appreciation. As I've gotten older, I like to show appreciation for you. I told you this before. Now that we've done the Relentless Project and I got my name on the screen, let's see if 6 months from now I'm still texting you Happy Friday. I bet you I will be.
You have. Right? You have been.
Okay. Ask Kevin if I'm still reaching out to him. Ask Tom Flynn if I say happy birthday, brother. You know what I mean? Hope you enjoy.
Tom Flynn's another one, man. He likes everything.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, he's a good dude.
All these people that had no reason to be nice to me and to help me out. I mentioned Lee Labrada earlier. You know Lee Labrada from Labrada Nutrition, Hall of Fame bodybuilding, bodybuilder. Lean Body is his protein shakes, and all the gyms have them, okay? And why I'm mentioning him is because when the book comes out, I had a list of people that I wanted to reach out to. Just people that have, like-minded people, right? Whether you're a bodybuilder or, this person in the law enforcement field or whatever. And just to show appreciation. And I send him a book. And he does a little story for me and like kind of talking about the book. And he's one of them because he's pretty well known in that space where I'm like, I don't want to text him like even once a week. I'm like, I don't want to bother him, But I'll just, hey Lee, hope you had a great week, brother. And the other day he was like, he was another one who told me about social media. And hey Daniel, happy Friday to you, brother. He goes, by the way, I'm seeing all your stuff. You're doing great, And I'm like, oh. And then I'm like a little kid. I'm like, that's Lee Labrada, bro. Yeah, I came up on him. You know what I'm saying? One of my reviews, bro. And again, I get real nerdy about this kind of stuff and whatever. And I don't. To be clear, my wife will tell you. I mean, I play baseball my whole life. If I saw like Derek Jeter walking, and I like Derek Jeter, but I'd be like, what's up, dude? Like, I'm not a fanboy like that. I feel like we're just dudes, and But I think also there's some people that I think it's good that you like this about them or they, look, man, I've never met Joe Rogan a day in my life, but I credit him a lot to what is this jiu-jitsu thing he keeps talking about? And why is it important for cops? Like, why does he keep saying that? And it made me look into it. And then I had an IA where I used some boxing I used to know and that, whatever. But, again, just being appreciative of Joe Rogan's just a dude like you and me. But he's also helped me in ways that he may never know. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? And so one of my reviews, man, on Amazon, you're familiar with Waco back in the day? Waco in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
David Koresh.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I know they did like a documentary on it. They did like a little mini series.
I think it's on Netflix now.
Bro, the head of the FBI negotiator team, Gary Nosner, I sent him a book. What does he care about a book on school safety? Well, because he's a little bit older now and retired. But he's got grandkids. You know what I'm saying? Gary Nosner wrote a review on my book on Amazon. And I look at that and I'm like, this is a guy who was like in my world, he is like the shit. You know what I'm saying?
He's the Joe Rogan.
Bro. And he was the one who it was frustrating because he was the one talking to Koresh. And every time the negotiators made progress, you SWAT guys would mess it all up. You know what I'm saying? And no, but in my world, a lot of the tactics that we use, I'm a big Chris Voss guy. Well, Chris Voss, Gary Nosner was Chris Voss's boss. So in other words, a lot of the techniques that I use now that have made me a decent negotiator, have made me a better husband, better father, have come from Chris Voss, that came from Gary Nosner. And I just show appreciation. And then to making that connection, just showing appreciation. Again, he's a retired guy that I don't want to bother. but I have his cell phone number. I'm like, how cool is this? You know what I'm saying?
That is pretty cool.
And if I text him, hey, Gary, hope everything's good. Hope you've had a good, few weeks. Hey, Daniel, thank you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is so dope. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's not about name dropping this and that. It's about show appreciation. There's somebody who doesn't know who you are right now, but they influenced you, right? Would that be?
No, for sure. Okay.
And so if you had the opportunity to tell them that, wouldn't it be dope for you to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because, and I say that because, quick story. I was at one of the fights and I'm leaving. Everything's torn down. I'm leaving. And this guy comes up to me. He's like, oh, dude, it's a Relentless guy. I hate when I get called that, by the way, because I don't know. It's like horny, but that's the name, I guess. He's like, hey, man, I want you to know I listen to every episode for education, and I'm always taking notes, and I appreciate what you're doing. And the first thought, I took it from him, right? The first thing I thought to myself was like, what are you learning from me? Like I'm nobody, right? But like I'd be depriving him of that he did, that appreciation.
Right.
So I check myself. I'm like, bro, you don't know how much that means to me. I appreciate that. Thank you. Like, feel free to reach out. Let me know what you want to see. Like, I'll do my best to get that. He's like, really? And I'm like,
how dope is that, bro?
I felt so good, right? Because I'm like, wow, like my efforts are not going unseen. It doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are. Taking that extra effort to be like, hey, bro, like I do it for small. Like people I don't know. I mean, that's a dope shirt. Like that's a dope shirt. Fits you well. I'll be at the cashiers and dude's like, oh, aren't you done at the gym? I'm like, what? He's like, I mean, you're done, right? And I'm like, oh, I say, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, you look good yourself. Little things like that, man. It's the human interaction. Just
you said it when we connected, and you said it again. You say it a lot. With William, he says he posts something, and I appreciate you listening. I appreciate
say that.
Yeah, you say it all the time.
I appreciate you taking the time to listen because I do.
You said it to me because again, to you, you're like, you may be like hard on yourself. Oh, I only got X amount of listeners. I want this, I want that. But then you hear some random cop from South Florida that's like, no, I watch all your stuff, bro. Like, I think you're dope. That you feel some kind of way. Like, that's like,
Yeah, I know. And
how many people that do listen that haven't got a chance to connect with you yet and tell you that to your face? You know what I'm saying? Or through email or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
it'd be nice if you're listening. No, well, where can people follow you online if they want to, learn more about the book or what you do or kind of follow your story and journey because they feel like they've connected with you?
So on Instagram, it's Officer Danny Safe. Okay, I was happy to be able to get that. Nobody took that from
Coined
me.
it.
Yeah. There's a lot of Danny Herreras out there. But no, Officer Danny Safe on the gram is probably the easiest way to reach out.
And one thing I like to end with, if you listen to the episodes, which you do, I'm sure you know the question's coming. We've talked about a lot of things. You've said a lot of impactful things for me, and I'm sure people listening, same way. The episode's over.
That.
I do. I wouldn't lie to you.
I'm just messing with you.
The episode's over, and they're done. They're home. They're in the car, so they're heading to work. What's one message that you want people to take from the 2 hours we've been speaking?
Be proactive, not reactive, for the love of God, in all things. With the girl that you want to date, with the job that you want, with whatever, again, not to keep this going so much longer, but you meet people, I'm sure like I do. I met one the other day at I was taking my daughter's car for service. And that guy said, oh, Sunday I play soccer with a bunch of canine cops. That was my dream. And I go, the dream ended? No, I feel like I'm too old. How old are you? 28. And I go, I was 29 when I started. I gave him my card. My card has my cell phone number. I don't give them out, just randomly, And I said, now wait a minute. I go, you're 28 years old. Your dream's alive and well, brother. And then he said, well, I had to see if my wife's okay with it. And I go, SOC, yeah, you have to, yeah.
First and foremost.
Because I go, look, I'm blessed in that way, man. My wife, again, married a school teacher, not a cop. I would have had a hard time if she would have said, I don't want you to do that. The schedule's all crazy. We have this stability. I don't want something to happen to you, whatever it is. So I said, but once you get that, you call me anything that you need because you're going to wake up one day, you're going to be 45 years old and you're going to be living your dream or with the biggest regret of your life. Which one do you want? So that's my takeaway always. And it doesn't have to be about police stuff. Be proactive. You want something, go for it. I can speak to that because I did it. I could have been right now, it would have been, I don't know, a year, 20-something teaching. Miserable. But I made a change. And as much sometimes as people may seem like it was an easy transition, it wasn't, bro. Because again, I had my wife and kids already. I had to go to the police academy. You know, I had to pass all these tests. Then I get on the road. Am I really meant to do this? You know, and then you have those critical calls that kind of
solidified it for you.
Solidified it for me. But it wasn't easy. But you did it. And I couldn't be happier. I wouldn't have been able to hopefully make some impacts the way that I have as a police officer had I just stayed in the job that I was miserable in. And again, shout out to all the teachers out there, man, because it's a hard gig. And I loved it until I did. And I had those circumstances that we spoke about. But the gist of my message, be proactive, not reactive. Don't wait till your marriage is dying. Work on it. Don't wait till you're diabetic and dying of sickness. Work on your body and your health. Don't wait until, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't complain about the dude that got the spot you wanted. They worked harder than you did. We would love to be told that it was, they didn't like us or whatever it was. You probably had something to do with it. Be proactive, not reactive.
I like that one, and I'm going to adapt that. Go follow Officer Danny Safe. Make sure you check out his book. Officer Danny always keeps us safe. Play on words there.
There you go.
I appreciate you for coming on, man. This dude traveled from Florida with his wife, drug her along.
Yep.
God bless her.
Yep.
She's listening to us spew for the second time, so much
Hopefully we
appreciated.
get to see the first one at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, we will. But this one, I'm excited about this one. Appreciate you for coming on. Follow him. Check out his book. Follow the Relentless Project online, YouTube, Instagram, Relentless PRJCT. And doing that, you get to hear cool stories from cool people just like Danny here. And this is the one with, I almost said Officer Daniel Herrera.
There you go.
This is the one with Daniel Herrera, and we're out.
Thank you,
Later,
brother.
brother. Appreciate you.